Hail adventurers! And welcome to the 123rd episode of Dirty 20, an evening of laughter, drama and adventure. We call it D&D Podcast. This is your Dungeon Master for the evening, and I'm once again joined by my colourful cast of characters. Today, again, we have basically everyone except for Hayden, who is still on his hollybobs. He should be back with us next week. But we do have everyone else, so we are going to play our session today. But before we do, we're going to do our regular round of shout-outs. And I think we will kick things off today, as usual, with Mitch. Do you want to tell us about Monday nights?
I will tell you all about Monday nights. Twitch.tv/Natural Wonders from 7 PM till 10 PM GMT. It's me, you, and Jay and Sam. We play Star Wars: Touch of the Empire. Good dice rolling fun. If you like Star Wars, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you'll probably like it. So come and check us out. Links in the chat.
Thank you, Mitch. Sam, do you want to tell us about your stream?
Apologies in advance, I am going to be munching for the first portion of the stream. There's been a whole fiasco with my food, where I've ended up with double the food and someone else's 4 drinks. But anyway, Sam JKP, Sam JKP on YouTube and Twitch. I play a lot of Pokemon. Little bit of Faz every now and then. I need to continue doing some stuff on Stray as well. But yeah, if you like any of those games, or me, question mark, come watch.
I'm surprised you didn't order a McDonald's Happy Meal for the Pokemon cards.
Just make another order.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you for sharing a story of your fiasco with McDonald's food. I swear to God, I will have a dragon attack you if those monsters keep having conversations.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you're talking about. Maya, tell us about yourself. What's your name? Age, sex, location?
My name is Maya. I'm a Taurus, and I like long walks on the beach. I am a streamer that goes by the name Anamaya, and I sometimes stream Genshin Impact. So if you like that sort of thing, go and check it out. I also try to stream Phasmophobia when it wants to work, and Hellblade as well. Which is a pretty fun game about a Viking gal who hears voices, so go check it out.
Hold on, I've got to switch screens here.
The pan. Is it the pan? Oh, ASL of a dinosaur.
Oh no, ASL T-Rex. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. That is amazing.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's really throwing me off. Jay.
I used to do limbs. I don't know. I'm probably never going to be at a stream again. With my time schedules. Yeah, my time schedules have collapsed. Probably won't stream in a long
It's
while.
hard to balance jobs and streaming, to be honest.
It is, yeah. So there's no point. Oh, promises. I might stick my head in now and again, but at the moment, too fucking tired, mate.
Jay's got
Well,
a more
if you want,
noble calling as teaching the youth of today, which concerns us all very deeply.
Yes.
Exceptionally
Youth
so.
in Asia.
Drinking black milk.
Well, the stream's there. If you want to
Is that?
do that.
We are so bad at shout-outs. So
If someone
bad
in
at
chat
it.
is willing to pay the delivery, I'll send you a whole McDonald's meal.
We could do a giveaway for Sam's leftover
McDonald's meal giveaway. So to round the shout outs out, we have our Discord where we put stuff about our Fucking hell, what's going on today? Where we do updates about the stream and all that good stuff about when we change up schedule or do a different kind of game. We have had players play with us in the past. Shout out to Pete there. And so if you want to have a chance to play with us on some occasional games, then make sure to check that out. As well as seeing all the handouts and stuff that I give to the players in the game, I throw all of that on there as well, so that's something to check out if you're interested. And finally, is a little shout out for myself. I run games for money. If you have money, I have games. So if you're interested in playing in one of my games, there's a link in the chat for my website if you would like to jump on that, because that's a lot of fun. We've got quite a lot of sold out games on there, but there are a couple on there, including Dragon Heist and a slot open in an Alexandria game. So if you like Critical Role and you want to play in a homebrew Critical Role world game, then check out the website there and you can find details on how to sign up for that. So that is everything, I believe. So I feel like, without further ado, we should probably dive into today's episode of Dirty 20. Hello, and welcome back. So, previously on Dirty 20, beneath the surface, Ferra Carta moves. Your goal to reach Razajan drives you onwards, fearful of what could be transpiring on the surface. After countless days of travel, following the spiders, you finally found yourselves at your first landmark, the Gloom Matron Gardens. Only a vague description of this location had been given to you by Xala that time ago, and it certainly was beautiful, if not in its own gothic horror type of way. Knowing you needed to teleport and find the stone to do so, you attempted to locate it. Alistair was able to find it within the upper levels of the building above. Aria, you entered alone, hoping to find it quickly and quietly. Invisible and guided by an arcane eye, she slipped past Zuriel and Grell unnoticed, but when the trail led her upwards to the top floor, she found herself confronted by several Illithid that had spotted her presence. As the fight engaged, most of Ferra Carta found their way above onto the top floor as well, flying or teleporting into the fray, as the others pierced from below on the ground floor. Though ultimately victorious, it was a hard battle and a harsh reminder that the Illithid were prepared, well researched, and likely more powerful the further in you went. As the fallout of the battle came to a conclusion, you all found yourselves stood within the building, still separated, a silence beginning to fall over the interior, as those that held hostilities fell to the ground. And that, Ferra Carta, is where we pick up this week. So, as you stand separated in this building, Storm, Eridel, and Setting Stars on the ground floor, and the rest of you still up in the hallway above, what would you like to do?
I'm going to try and open that door opposite me.
Okay, so we'll we'll fade downstairs to you guys that are on the ground floor.
Can I try open it and just like
Yes.
just burst through it? Because I mean, Eridel still technically doesn't know that the fighting has stopped.
Absolutely. I mean, you've definitely seen all of the... Because you were getting chased by someone, they seem to just drop
Oh
down.
right, okay.
But, I mean, you can surmise that as you will. But, which door are you opening? The one that's just directly next to you?
Yep, that's right.
Alright. Let me just... I need to move the cameras a little bit because I can't get to the button again. Now, we said that the... There we go, that did work. Perfect. So, as you open up the doorway, you look in and can see it's like there's just a small storage room with a bunch of crates and barrels. It seems mostly untouched, to be honest. You don't see much in there that kind of indicates to you that it's been tampered with in the time that the elephant have been here.
Okay, cool. In that case, I'll start heading towards this door. See what's in there.
Which one? Sorry,
The one at the other end of the hall, down here.
Okay. So, as you head to the other side, Second Stars is already kind of down there with you. I think he'll be kind of walking around and sort of waiting for your call on that as well, to see what you're doing and then follow you as you head into that position. So you walk over to that door, pushing the wooden doors open. It's all very quiet now. You don't hear the sound of battle happening from upstairs. As you push open the door, it reveals to you this long open chamber. These cushioned seats along the sides, two large candelabras hanging from the ceiling, and like a stage space at the far end. You can see it kind of outcrops a little bit and some steps that go up either side, with a large piano-like structure at the top. This seems to be like a gala room of some kind. It's completely empty, but you get that scent of old wood in here.
Okay.
And polish, almost. The floor, though purple wood, shines, reflects.
Okay. Is this a door here as well?
It is indeed.
Alright, I'm gonna go and open that one, and then that'll be me. I'm just trying to look for something that leads downwards.
Sure. As you dart around and look, you head into that space, and as you open up that door and look inside, you can see moth-bitten clothes and cloaks on one side, some wardrobes, part of them open slightly. It looks like what probably was once a cloakroom.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to Storm and Setting Stars. Doesn't look like there's any staircases leading down in this building. We should probably try and find a basement in another one.
Yes, I assumed it would probably be in one of the other buildings.
Has an hour passed since the fighting started?
Since the fighting started?
Yeah.
No.
Right, okay, then that means that Psychic Whispers is still up. I'm gonna use Psychic Whispers. Aria, everything alright up there?
As you say that, we fade upstairs to those of you that are still now in the hallway, the blade just being pulled from the illithid.
Got it. We got it. It's all good. We got it.
That means everything's dead, right?
I hope so.
Dead dark hours just to make sure. Yes. I think they're done.
Did
I-
you get that
Yeah.
map?
Yes, I grabbed it before I ran out here.
Before I go anywhere, I search the illithid and get the stone.
Yep. I already got the stone.
Ow.
I grabbed it during combat.
Dude,
Yes.
that was actually pretty impressive.
I have sticky fingers.
Kensei just kind of holds his sword a little tighter for a moment.
I gifted you a dagger. What are you talking about?
He holds that tighter too.
Are there any... Sorry. Are there any other spaces on this floor that you didn't get a chance to look at?
There are rooms in here.
Oh yes. You guys search, and I'm gonna run back to that room, the office room that had the safe in it. Sorry, there's like something on my glasses. Yeah.
Sorry.
Can I?
One downstairs, correct?
Yeah, and I want to listen out for that scratching noise that I heard.
Yeah, sure. You dart back downstairs towards that room. The office room down here, correct?
Yeah.
Sure. As you dart back down there, running down the stairs, through the hallway, as you pass through the hallway, I think that actually all those things came upstairs, like the grill and whatnot. So the grill got caught in a fireball, I'm pretty sure.
They did, yeah.
So as you run past the scorched hallway now and down, I'll say that there are still elements burning away as you dart back downstairs into the office. Roll me a perception check, please. $13.
Not the best.
Okay. You listen around. That sound is gone.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I'll as soon as I can't hear anything, I'll go and rejoin the others. Wanted to check.
So are there doors that are in this little room we fought in upstairs then?
There are. So there's 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and I'm just gonna, for brevity's sake, I'm just gonna reveal it to you.
Yeah, we'll take some time to search them.
To show.
Yeah, same.
So I'll say that this will probably take maybe about. It depends on how speedy you're being, but about, 5 minutes to open up and see what's inside. If you want to search further, you can. You open up the doors and you can see they all seem to be old bed chambers, but you can see that they've been converted into storing various Zuriel and Zwerfnebelin that have been kind of stored in here. Their corpses, obviously. Many of their brains removed. The top floor specifically, or the sort of northernmost set of rooms, appear to be containing old storage for whoever. Well, you guys know that the Gloom Matrons used to live here, and at one point it looks like it may have been maybe a kitchen space or something to that effect, or at least certainly a storage for food items. But again, much of that has been taken up with things like jars of brains and other elements of that variety.
Do I remember you describing that there were tadpole jars here last week?
There were tadpole jars.
What? I'm just
asking.
asking.
2.0.
I'm just asking a question.
I'm not in the psychic whispers, am I?
Asking a question.
Only Eridel, Arya, and Storm are.
Oh, could you inform Storm we have a what do you call them? A wormy situation up here.
It's like a little pet shop.
Protocol wormy needs to be initiated.
But are there dozens and dozens of tadpoles, loads?
You just see kind of brine jars, that's slightly kind of lime-colored coloration to the liquid, and you do see shifting. It's cloudy. But you do see shifting. It's hard to count as many. You'd have to go up and get a better look.
He's got the tribute jar.
No. This is the jar where I had wormy before.
Do you want to open it up and maybe have a look? How many are in?
I'll put my eye.
I'm going to take the actual.
Do it. Yeah, do it. Yeah,
roll me a dexterity.
I want to open it and go hello. And put my eye right up.
Are you actually? Are you doing that?
Wait,
odds on.
I think I might point out.
Odds on.
Odds on 5.
All right.
Really?
You'll get a go though.
Nah, that's... No, moving on. I will point them out to the guys there's quite a lot of these little wormy fellows. Is it any point us destroying them now? Or is it just a waste of time? Can't hurt. I'll just blast one with an Eldritch Blast.
Well, there you go.
But if there's nothing else of note up here that we spot, I suppose we can move back downstairs.
Are the illithid bodies still up here?
The bodies are. You haven't got rid of them.
Can I loot them, please?
Absolutely. You see on them as you begin to search. Well, an investigation check just in case they have anything that they're intentionally hiding on their.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay. As you go over them, they have obviously no kind of currency. They're all wearing kind of robes. You can see, like, in one hand, in one pocket, you place into you place your hand into. You can feel like this soft, squishy material, which, if you pull it out, grey matter, snacks.
Yeah.
You look over their person, but they don't have anything of particular note to it. Pieces of equipment, like maybe something that looks to be like some kind of screw that might be used to get an eye out of a socket.
Oh.
They have strange equipment on them. Obviously, what they may have been using at the time that the combat took place, because you did interrupt them in the middle of whatever work they were doing. Yeah.
Okay.
With the similar pace at what we that we check the rooms up here with, can I quickly go along this corridor and check the remaining doors here?
Let me get that. Oh, didn't do the full amount. Both of these rooms are two separate different bedrooms. One of them seems to be a more personalised one, or more private and more elaborate, and the other seems to be like a double. You can imagine that there is most likely a hierarchy that comes with the Gloom Matrons as well, and likely the most important in the better luxuries. So you get the impression this is probably the chamber of someone that was more important or higher up, and based on kind of the look on the second room, we should go around kind of looking over the space. There's some empty armor stands and the like. There's some worth to the material in there that it's partially destroyed. You could see there was definitely combat that took place along this hallway before you guys were in it, and may have slightly bled into this room. You get the feeling that maybe some kind of it could have been maybe a bodyguard of some kind, or like elite soldiers may have inhabited this room.
Okay, but at first glance, I don't see anything that necessarily might catch my attention as, oh, that would be useful, or that's of like illithid origin, or.
Not really. A lot of these rooms seem to be abandoned. It's only the rooms that pose usefulness that you've seen real activity in.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna send up another cheeky voice notes, Aria. Have you found anything?
Nothing up here of note. What are we looking for exactly?
I don't know. I assumed that you would not come down because you were searching for something else.
There is one more thing I can think to try. It might tell us some stuff. Can we... I'm happy to do it, but can we say when I went down to the office, I kind of swiped any papers or any like books that were like on the desk, just on the desk?
Yeah, sure.
And just have a flick through and see if any of the notes or books say anything about like the stone or where any.
Not at all.
No. Okay.
That information definitely would not be on any of those notes. They all seem to pertain to the business of the Gloom Matrons. You can see like orders for weaponry, notations from other settlements throughout the Underdark, all written. Obviously, you can take time to read it as well with your Eldritch Sight, I believe, or whatever the actual ability is, the invocation. But yeah, you can take time to read it. But as far as you can tell, it's they all seem to like communicate with other cells or the like. You do notice there are conversations about Svirfneblin disappearances. Like there are settlements and communities that have noticed, like they kind of blink out one by one the further down it gets. And I will even say, I mean, I'm not going to make you roll investigation for this because you're picking up papers that are on the side. You see a correspondence, the name is kind of blotched out from blood, and along with a portion of the letter, but it seems to be, it refers to a group referred to as Duragar, and there's something along the lines of all trade has ceased with this nation, or this stronghold even. No communicate.
Alright.
Go through and read what group by group people have been snuffed out of existence.
Should we check the rest of the buildings in the compound?
Be a good idea.
Perhaps we should split up now that the threat
We know that the
seems
coast
to be...
is clear, yes.
Is there any chance we could get more of us in Psychic Whispers if we are to split? I'm not sure what the capacity is.
Adele, can you add people into this?
I can, but that's only 5 people can go in at once, I think.
Okay.
How many of us are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's
6,
already 3
7.
people in, so 2 more.
We can just like...
So
pair
5
up if
including
there's a problem
me.
with numbers.
Who wants in?
Sure.
I'll
Zuko.
go.
Alright,
think
add
I'm-
Zuko and Gaia.
Right, cool. Suck 'em in. Oh wait, no, I have to see him. I
Oh.
can't.
Oh, okay.
Let's all go.
Zuko,
Let's
go back
reconvene
downstairs.
down. Yes.
Go back
yes,
downstairs and stare at
Yeah,
Aaron.
we'll all gang up in, or group up in the main hall, I guess, like the entranceway or whatever, where the others are right now.
Alright, you guys head back down the stairs. Eventually, you guys, I mean, you'd hear them. I mean, you're right next to a staircase. You can hear the conversation probably, because it is fairly quiet in here. But eventually, heading down the steps, you all reconnect in the main hallway, the foyer space, it seems.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna stare at Gaia Kazuko and they're in Psychic Whispers.
Great.
You feel a cold chill running down your spine as Aradel enters your brain.
Test.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Is this thing on?
Yes, I can hear you, Zuko.
Good.
And any other thoughts that you might have lurking in the dark.
As
brain
you
of yours.
enter Gaia's brain, you just hear the whistle of wind.
And a
know
little
it's
tumbleweed.
nothing in there.
Yeah.
Right, perhaps we should pair up somebody who's not in the Whispers with some of the Whispers, huh? I'll take, me and Alistair can search one of the buildings.
Does someone want to take the north and someone else take the east?
Sure, we can.
Oh
we can
gosh,
go
yeah, that's
to the
quite a
north
few
side.
buildings, isn't there?
Quite some big buildings up there.
I could go with Arya. Gaia
Sure.
can go with. Gaia can go with 2.
We have-
7 stars.
Yes.
I'll go with Storm.
Sounds like a plan.
And Alistair can tag
Go with
along with
Zuko.
someone. There you go.
Yes, see, I said he could come with me.
Yes. Alright.
Are you okay with that?
So there's hold on a second. There's 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. So I think there's actually 4 buildings, like 4 big buildings. that we
1,
can
2,
investigate.
3,
There's 8, including the small ones.
Yeah, 7 really big ones. But there's more
yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah, there is. There's one there.
3, 4, 5,
I mean, does anyone want to stay in this building and continue searching this building, or no?
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think. Well, we're on the bottom floor and we're looking for a basement, and I haven't found any stairs that lead down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So let's take the north first and move our way around.
Cool.
Just be quick and remain in communication.
Shall we say that one pair goes here, one pair goes here, one pair goes here, and then one pair goes here?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sure. Me and...
Let's split up and look for clues.
Okay. Me and Gensei will do this one then. I don't know how to drag my token up. Oh no, there it is. I got it.
You good?
Yeah, me and Gensei will do this one.
Who's setting stars going with?
I think me was it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got the kayak.
Just trying to make sure to pair someone off with someone who can contact the group.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
So, you'd like to start?
We'd like to split the party.
Should we roll a die for it? Should we roll a d4?
Yeah, go on.
Sure, go on.
And
Who's who though?
we'll have like
One
One person from each pair
2,
roll.
3, and then 4 would be Aria and Kayak. I'll roll a
Mhm.
cheeky d4 for it.
Do you want to
Oh,
roll
no.
it, Jack, or shall I?
Yeah.
Okay.
D4, right?
Yep.
Hey.
Okay, so we start with
Oh, I didn't see
Kensei, and it is a deep boy. He did it to me in private.
Oh, I see. I was like, where is it?
Oh,
So, as you open the
I just said
doorway,
yeah.
this building, as you get up closer towards it, seems like a lot of the external buildings are seem less extravagant from the exterior than the main manor building, which has patterned walls and sort of texture to the building itself, whereas the other ones seem a lot more like plainer. Whereas here, this one looks like almost like a small cottage, and as you open up the building, or the door to the building, should I say, you step in and can see it certainly gives that impression, like a small, maybe cottage-like space, a private building. Some stairs lead up on your left, and you can see there is a almost like living room interior. Seats around chairs around a table, both in like a sort of almost like a game room sort of space where they're softer chairs, and then on the right you see what appears to be not quite a dining room table, but maybe like a space to have discourse with other people of import.
It's a situation.
Like a situation room, I suppose. But this gives you an air of comfort in here. It's not quite. Yeah, it's not quite simple. If that makes sense.
As soon as we get in, Eldritch Sight.
Okay.
Yeah. See if anything comes up.
And nothing abnormal comes to your eyes as you search for anything magical.
Cool. I'll just start looking for. I'm less concerned with upstairs, although I suppose we could look upstairs. I'm gonna look for anything that looks like it might be covering like a hatch, like a secret hatch, or like a compartment, like hidden
Absolutely.
doors or whatever.
All right, roll me an investigation check, please.
20.
20. You glance around and begin to check the spaces that you feel like maybe something like that could be hidden behind bookshelves, underneath the table, and anything that covers the floor. You spend some time looking around, but you don't find anything that indicates a trap door or an access to a lower space.
Okay. Do you want to check?
Whilst you're...
Oh, go on.
Sorry, go right ahead, because you were about to do
I was just
what
going to
gonna
say, shall we check upstairs, Casey, or do you think we should leave it?
Check upstairs as well. Let's be fair.
Okay, well, head upstairs, as you say. What you're going to say?
I've already gone upstairs, ignoring her completely.
As you get to the top of the staircase, it's a smaller room. To your right, you can see a silk bed and a divider that kind of cordons off a series of wardrobes. Some windows look out on the north side down to the front of the building. And behind you is on the other side, from the as you come up the stairs, but the wall behind you, you can see there is a door that leads out onto like a balcony that overlooks the ground as well, and that is just down here.
Cool.
Can't ping. There we go.
Cool. Alright, so it just looks like a house that someone might live in, really.
Yeah, as you spend some time searching the area, it doesn't seem particularly standoutish.
Okay.
Might as well do one more check just to see if there's anything hidden here. So might as well do one more check.
You want me to check, or?
I'll help you. You have a more keener eye for these things.
Alright. 26.
Is this you?
Same things like secret hatches, compartments, anything that looks out of the ordinary.
Okay. You glance round and investigate the scene. As you go through cupboards and wardrobes upstairs the end table, you don't see anything that would indicate to you a hidden compartment of any kind. Everything seems very much as it is.
Cool.
Something's just occurred to me. This is just a house that looks like someone lives in, right?
Seems that way.
It would appear so.
I want to do another check myself to see if I can find a diary. Or a journal of some kind this person may have kept.
You certainly can try. I mean, as Ari's been looking around, you've certainly not found anything of that like. Certainly not a diary of any kind. But you are more than welcome to take a look yourself.
I'll take a look myself just in case.
Okay.
Is that investigation as well?
Investigation, yes, please.
Oh no, my mind is not that good. Oh.
Yeah, the both of you look very thoroughly. You believe, if anything was worth taking in terms of knowledge, you can imagine, given the time the Elephant have been here, it probably would have been taken and stored elsewhere, if even kept at all. Yeah, that's what you find.
All right, I will send down the psychic bond. We have nothing over here. Huh?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying, I'll take the Aria first. Tell the others maybe to keep on the lookout for journals or diaries. These people would have used the gate fairly regularly, I imagine, or would know about it. They might have details on how it works in there.
Right. We haven't down the bond. We haven't found anything over here, but keep an eye out for diaries or journals. They might tell us stuff we need to know.
Okay. So, what I'll say, let's move on to someone else looking through one of the houses. Right. Let's go to Eridel and Storm. So you head up to one of the doors of this building. What would you like to do?
See if the door's unlocked.
It appears to be so. As you pull on the handle, it does give.
Alright, let's go right in then.
Alright, so as you push open the door here, you find yourselves looking into another quite a large storage space. Lots of crates, lots of barrels, lots of sacks. It seems filled to the brim with storage. As you step through, in fact, as the door opens, you get this smell twofold. One of like natural fungus, perhaps, but then also food that has begun to go past its prime. It is beginning to rot and go stale, and that just permeates the air here. That sort of pungent scent.
Of course, we get the room of rotting food.
Very typical. Let's check a second anyway. I'm gonna have a look like on the ground, see if there's like knowing that there's not been much moved in here, seeing if there's like any kind of crates or something that look like they've been like may have scuffed the floor or been moved quite often.
I'll assist with that.
Absolutely. Sure. Make an investigation check with advantage. Okay, 26. So as you take the time to look through this room, particularly looking at the floor for any scuff marks. I mean, you do see damage to the masonry on the floor here. None of it necessarily looks like it's been moved regularly in the same sort of pattern, like not like a secret door that kind of scratches on the ground in an arc every time. You don't see anything to that effect. You can see that the crates all kind of bear things like metals and ores or ingots and weaponry, armor, all of this kind of like black, almost obsidian coloration to it. There are portions where sacks are filled with like potatoes and other vegetables, which are kind of in a slimy goo now. That's really what you find in here. You don't see anything else that indicates a secret passage, if that's what you're kind of looking for.
Just in case, there's a door.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
There is a door on the south side of the room.
Let's go and see what's behind that door.
Alright.
No,
As you open the door, you do see a staircase beyond. There's a couple of barrels in here, but there's a staircase that leads downwards into darkness.
I'm gonna turn back and look at Storm. Shall we?
Yeah,
Let's go.
Okay. You begin to head down the staircase, and as you begin to reach the bottom, it doesn't go down too far, maybe about 10 to 15 feet. As you reach the bottom, you find yourself stepping into further storage space. You can see there's a lot of barrels and crates in here, and the smell in here, the smell in here is very strong, and it's humid.
Fuck's sake! All right, I'm not even going to bother with this one.
Yes, a sense of fulfillment kind of fills you as you see the staircase, and as you step down, realizing there doesn't seem to be a very obvious, at least, sign of a portal down here, or a circle even.
probably no.
There was an air of frustration.
Go back up.
I'm gonna send down the line. Nothing in here either.
Right. Strong and human smell of disappointment. Very true. Who is going next? Which building is being...
Roll D4 odds and evens.
Odds and evens.
Oh,
will be
one
on.
anyway.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
We'll head on in. I remember hearing noises coming from this building when we first arrived, right? There were like some kind of sense of someone moving inside. If you don't remember, I don't know.
This particular building.
Because we arrived like
Yes.
up here, right? So the first door we kind of checked out was this one, and we heard stuff inside. I thought. I might have remembered that wrong.
I believe you heard things moving in the courtyard, and that's what got your attention.
All right. Well, regardless, I'll check the door. If it's unlocked, I'll head straight in.
Yeah, I mean, you pull on the door, and like every of the other ones here, they all seem to be unlocked.
Cool. Yeah. Head on inside.
Okay. As you push open the door of this room, you can see there's a great space in here. To your left, it opens up wider into a sort of larger room where you can see what appears to be like several tables with like armaments across it, like swords and axes that seem to be kind of like there's kind of like chiseling equipment in there as well. On this side of the room, you can see a staircase that leads upwards, and another one just on the left of it that leads down. So it's kind of going in this sort of pattern. So there is a staircase that leads down here.
Okay. I think that, yeah, we'd kind of breeze past that stuff, and as soon as we see anything that seems to go down, head down it.
All right. So as you get further around this space, you can see. What's your passive perception? It's pretty. It's pretty.
Alistair's is 15.
No, 15. Okay. So you can see the armaments here that are on the side. They seem to have like notations next to it. There's some stacks of paper, and what appears to be like on the edge of this staircase, this suit of armor, very similar to Xala again. And next to it is like almost like filing cabinets. You can see one of the drawers is open, and there's like a number of papers in there, and several of them kind of like spilled out onto the ground. I'm trying to see how much. I tell you what, just roll me a straight intelligence check here. Okay.
3.
Well, I'm gonna have Alistair roll one. I'm just gonna roll a D8, a D20. What do you know what his intelligence modifier is?
+2.
+2. Okay. It's not a bad roll. It's a 15. As he kind of looks at this area, gauging some of the stuff here, he turns around and tells you that if he didn't know any better, this looks kind of like a customs space, like a declare,
Like at the airport.
yeah.
Oh shit. So this could all be confiscated or held goods.
Could be. It could have been in the process of some stuff going on, and then obviously what happened. Here you could definitely see now, as you get further into the room around to where that staircase is, like there's blood everywhere.
Oh wow. Okay, so something
And
definitely
it's
went down
caked
here.
in. It is dried. Initially, it seems like a crimson sort of pattern to the ground, this dark colour. But as you step forward, there's a little bit of tackiness as you get further in.
Okay. Sure. So yeah, tentatively kind of step down the stairs then.
Okay, stepping down the stairs.
Yeah.
Okay, you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. I ain't
Okay.
afraid of no one.
So, as you step down the staircase, you give me a memento. You see ahead of you. You see ahead of you this like a long hallway that goes about 20-25 foot before it turns left slightly.
I will ask Alistair to give me a light. Actually, I don't need a light.
Okay.
I'm fine without it.
All right.
I'll just keep walking. I'm gonna go slow, hug the wall, and try and peek around the corner.
Sure. As you get to the edge of this L-shaped hallway, immediately around the corner you see a door. It is closed.
Okay. Am I still seeing like all blood down here, or is the blood faded?
You do see there are some trails of blood. Like there's a trickle that you can see along one side of the wall, as if someone was moving down wounded and like leaving a gentle smear. But again, that is dried and tacky.
I'll just give the door a quick look over. It doesn't look like it's going to explode, I imagine. And then I'll just put my hand on it and give it
That is a presumption you can make.
a little push or a pull, whatever
Okay.
it seems to want me to do.
It's closed. You might need to use the handle.
Oh, all right, okay, yeah, I'll pull the handle down then. And...
I'm just being pedantic. As you go to open the door, It's locked. It is a very hefty door, made of like what appears to be like this blackened steel, and it is just not. It's not shifting.
I will just quickly go back upstairs and look around in that main room for any kind of keys. Maybe if there are any bodies there. I don't remember if you said there were bodies specifically.
There weren't any bodies in there.
No, but I'll have a quick look around any like of the desks or drawers or anything there.
Absolutely. Roll me an investigation check as you look around to see if you can find anything.
Can I have advantage because I'll get Alistair to help me?
Yeah, sure.
Get the boy involved. 17.
Okay. Looking around that room, going through all the drawers, looking over all the tables and surfaces, you don't find any kind of keys. And if there were any keys to this door, they're not here.
Well, Alistair, I suppose there is always the brute force method. And I'll go back downstairs.
Alright.
And I will stand in front of the door and start blasting. Oh, actually, I'll give a warning to everyone first before I start freaking him out.
Okay.
I'm just going to try and open a door. It's locked, so you might hear a little bit of a noise. And then I'll just start shooting the door.
Okay.
Great, just what we need, more noise.
Make some attack rolls.
I guess.
Okay.
I get 3 beams at the moment, so should I do all 3?
You do. So do all 3. Let's see.
Wow.
All right.
That's only the rolls as well. I need to figure that out for me. So that's 15 plus 13 plus 14.
All right.
Quite a bit.
Okay. You pull back. The first one blasts off the door and doesn't do any damage. Confused, you kind of look at it, alright, and begin to blast some more. The 2 other impacts, you can see there are large dents that form in the door, and you watch it. It isn't open yet. Are you going to continue to blast it?
Does it look like I've made a considerable amount of, like...
A decent amount of damage on it.
I'll give it one more.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, so, honestly, you're eventually going to roll high numbers anyway here, so there's no point going through all the rolls. As you continue to blast, it falls off its hinge partially and hits into the wall beyond, revealing to you a sudden wash of intense heat. You're not being struck by any fire, but you do suddenly feel this searing warmth. As you look inside, you can see this kind of like bridge-like structure, kind of crossing over towards this large effigy of this giant tarantula in the middle of the room. On the northern side, so on your left around the ledge, on that north side, you can see another of these big metal doors.
And this central little platform, what is that little orange orb thing? Is that
So that is this kind of like effigy of a tarantula, which seems to have like lava pouring from its eyes out through like tips of the fangs, and goes into like a channel that seeps back down into this pool of lava beneath this cross section of bridges that lead to the middle where that effigy is.
Other room. There's lava. A very nice statue. And then I'll take a step in.
Okay.
Do I immediately die?
You do not immediately die.
Okay. I will kind of try to withstand the heat and get a closer look at that statue because it sounds pretty cool.
Okay.
I know some.
Roll me a religion check.
Sure. I remember the last time I was in a room with lava, the door slammed on me and began to We get to
did.
film.
The dwarven ruin.
You're not sure the significance of this statue, I don't think.
So for the time being, I'm not gonna touch it because I don't want to be shut in here with the rising lava.
For real.
Okay, so I'll there's plenty of room for me to like walk to the north door, right, without
Yeah.
falling in precarious pools of molten rock.
Yeah, your token just takes up more space.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But you walk over to that door, exactly the same kind of door. This dark steel of some kind.
Is it locked?
Are you going to try and open it?
Yeah.
As you make contact with the door, it is locked. You try to open it, it's locked. Nothing else happens.
Said it was the same material.
Same material as the door that you just opened.
Motherfuckers. Getting tired. I'll look around the room in case there is any indication on maybe like how I could get it open without just going ham.
Yeah? Okay, roll me a perception check.
Sure.
Glancing around, the walls seem empty except for like these. I suppose that now as you've taken a further step in, you can look around and see in each corner of the room these kind of like statues of like they appear to be Zuriel in like this dark armor. They're made of stone, but they're kind of like built into the walls, into the corners. But they have like these shrouded hoods, and their faces are covered in darkness. Just the vague features of a face that you can tell that gives them gives you an indication that they may be Zuriel. But rather than that kind of spiked armor that you'd seen beforehand, it's more of this kind of like deep leathers and like much more like, I guess you almost like stealthy or thief-like armor. But they all face towards, almost like bowing to this giant spider in the middle. But otherwise, you don't see anything else etched onto the walls. Well, they're not in actual armor. They're just it's stone. They're carved of stone that looks like that.
I will turn around to this big old spider.
Mm-hmm.
Alistair, I'll call him over. Any ideas? No? Oh, damn. You're quiet today.
No, go on. Role play with yourself.
Perhaps we need to follow the spiders, you know? Like, that's what, Xala told us to do. So maybe we follow the spiders like these statues are doing, huh? And I'll, like, kneel to the spider. I'll worship the spider, whatever, queen.
Okay.
Kneel down. Praise be the spider.
Okay. Roll me a persuasion check. Or a deception.
I'm happy, but I didn't expect that. You say persuasion or deception?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like either are justifiable in this situation.
I'll take persuasion.
Okay.
Oh my god. I'm gonna use one of my D4s for my talisman. Because I'm pretty sure that will be a fail. 16.
16. As you kneel before this spider, you see it's facing towards the door that you are at. And you can see it just kind of stands there, doesn't move. As Alistair is obviously somewhere in the room. And you watch kind of you're sure for a second you watch the eyes blink. But the statue doesn't move. You don't hear the grinding of stone that something like that would have happened. just the of the lava.
He's rolling. What's he rolling for?
I
I don't like that.
Okay. Suddenly, there's a sharp sensation, like 2 needles have been jabbed into your shoulder. As you turn to look at where the pain is, you can see there is this momentary, like, you can see 2 needle marks, like fangs have bitten into your shoulder. There's nothing there though, and you can see your shoulders, which is normally this blue skin, is beginning to like fade a deep purple, but it doesn't shift more than maybe an inch in diameter. It's like a wound, a spider bite. And as that bite takes you, your vision goes strangely cloudy for a moment, and your vision begins to spin and shift, almost like you're not sure if it's the heat is starting to get intense enough that, you know, it's that heat wave reflection. It's either that, or maybe you just got injected with something and now you're almost like drunk, poisoned. And in this strange scene, you watch the spider legs curl and shift and move as they kind of like, they don't move the statue or the creature, but you feel like it's moving. You can see it kind of shifting its legs, and you watch the eyes blink again, all 8 of them, and you feel like something is looking back at you now. It's not just a statue. And you hear in your voice, in your head even, a voice. Protect my children. You have my blessing.
I will protect them. We will.
And you begin to like, your vision is really like tunneling now, and you've got this massive headache, and as you squeeze your eyes shut as the pain is intense, Alistair, kind of seeing this, kind of walks over towards you. You can feel a hand on your other shoulder, and as you open your eyes to look up, everything is back to the way that it was. The statue is unmoved. Puts his hand on your shoulder. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I thought I'd been poisoned.
The door behind you opens up.
Zoinks!
Does that make Alistair Scooby-Doo?
I think that whatever I did worked. Thought that would be a stupid idea. Oh.
As you look forward, you can see a hallway that stretches beyond. There's another door on the right, and then a series of 3 on either side near the end, and at the very end is another doorway. So there's a few doors in this space.
At this point, I'll send another message. Guys, I'm getting a really strong feeling that this might be the right place. There's a room with lava and a statue that I spoke to, and it opened up the door for me. Feels like a lot of security for not the thing we're looking for. So, when you're done there, perhaps come here.
Should we start making our way over?
Don't do anything until we get there.
Yes, I'll wait, but finish up your searches. We don't want to... I might be wrong about my place.
Me and Ken
And
say
at
I'm
that point, I will
over.
wait in this room until everyone else is here. I think I might even innate cast levitate on myself, just so I don't accidentally fall in the lava, because am I still feeling like a little bit dazed, like a little woozy?
You're feeling fine.
I'm feeling perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Then I would just step into the hallway, just out of the way of the lava, and then
Sure.
And then I would wait.
So, at that point, we'll cut to Gaiak.
Yes, dear.
So you are outside your building.
I just want to quickly say as well, more Mackies just arrived.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Great. Is this your third?
Yep.
Are you joking? No.
Nope. Nope.
How is this happening?
I
What is
don't.
going
I
on?
don't understand. I don't understand. I've no idea.
If you get any,
So-
Am I sponsored
Have you
by Mackies now?
eaten-
No, I can
have
show
you
you the
eaten it?
bags. So
This is
there's
ridiculous.
number 1.
No way.
There's number 2.
Cannot believe.
And
can't
this is the
believe.
third one that just arrived. And
They're all different bags as well. This is great.
it's 3 of the 4 drinks because I have actually drunk one because why not? But I don't know where they even came from.
All the stickers as well. You must have got so many Monopoly stickers.
Mate,
Yeah,
if you
man.
get any orange or blue ones, gimme.
Nah, I don't
Mate,
mind.
you're gonna get so many Monopoly bits just off of
Yeah, I
someone
know.
else's money.
The ironic thing, like I said earlier, I've got like another Coke from Monopoly, like God knows what else, but I'm done with McDonald's for the rest of the year. Anyway,
That's so funny.
Ronald.
So, other than your McDonald's fantasies, what are you?
I mean, I'll see if this door is open and if so, like unlocked, and if so, push it open and head in.
Okay, it is indeed unlocked. As you push open the door, you can see a very large kitchen space here. A large central table with knives and fruit and vegetables over it. The smell of rot hits your nose the moment the door opens. Along the back wall, you can see stoves and additional sort of cutting tables and storage for all this food.
And all the food just looks rotten.
I mean, it looks completely unappetizing.
Okay. Is this a door over here?
There is a door on that side. Taking a look through there, you can see the smell of meat now, which appears to be some kind of pantry.
Okay.
But again, as you go through these spaces, nothing jumps out to you as like immediately useful or interesting beyond the knowledge of the room.
If there was any secret passages, I don't think they'd keep them in the kitchen or the pantry. I'll head out of this door and kind of move towards this one.
Absolutely. I'll just show you both these rooms because I think that's probably quicker. They appear to be almost like dormitories of some kind, bunk beds, several of them stained with blood, quite a lot of blood, gives you the indication that someone died in either of these rooms. Everything else seems to be empty in here in terms of like the storage containment.
Any body parts as well as just like blood?
Not that you can see. I mean, any bodies that you've... Any like fatal amounts of blood somewhere has not been accompanied with bodies for the most part.
And I haven't seen any like stairs or anything in this building at all.
No.
Okay, I'll head over into this little outlet.
All right, and again, I'll just show you these for sake of brevity. Both seem to be external lavatories of some kind.
Just while I'm here, it worked for Thrisk once. I'm gonna. Are they literally just like holes?
They are
my
holes,
God.
but so they're like they're wooden seats, but they do go down into like a pit.
I'll walk over to one of the toilets and just put my hand in where Thrisk found that pouch of coin that one time.
Nice.
Okay.
Any sentence that starts with
All right.
"for the wrist once" is something we should maybe think about more than once.
Let's this guy out.
All right, roll me an investigation check to show a feel around.
I'm gonna guidance myself.
Okay. I can't.
Oh my god, a 7.
You put your hand underneath and try to feel on the underside. You can feel the cold touch of a stone. You feel around and you do feel a pouch.
Wait, what?
Okay, I'm gonna grab it.
Okay, as you feel the leather pouch and pull it out, it's a very well kind of like put together. I suppose put together is. I suppose it is technically put together, just not by hand. It's a tough bit of shit.
I knew it.
As the realization kind of
There's some gold inside.
sets in my brain, my eyes
sweet corn.
just glaze over, and I just stare at it for a second, and I'm just gonna drop it back into the toilet,
As you
and
drop it back in the toilet, bit of splashback.
I know that Alistair.
This is your.
I know that
This is his punishment. This is his punishment. Okay.
I know that Alistair is with Zuko, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, Zuko, did you tell everyone to kind of meet up where you are?
Yeah, I let everyone know that I think I'm on to the right kind of thing here. I'll wait before I go any further.
Okay. I don't tell them that I've finished looking in Psychic Whispers. I'm just going to immediately start heading to Alistair and Zuko.
Okay. You head in that direction. So, Gayak will say that you head over first and get down there as you reach the bottom.
I'm assuming, what's his face, Setting Stars is... I'm not going to tell him what's just happened.
Yeah, Setting Stars will... I think Setting Stars will have gone with you because you were on your own.
Smell, guy.
What is that smell?
I was just thinking the same thing.
There was a lavatory. I think I may have stepped in something. Just don't worry. Just don't mind it. Please don't ask any questions. It's absolutely fine.
This is when Deep Base Scent would have been very handy.
Oh my god.
Alistair,
Sure, seawater to
Alistair.
get rid of the stench of shit.
Alistair, prestidigitation, please, please, please.
I don't have.
I feel like Alistair finds this so funny that isn't. You see him think for a moment, and then he'll cast it on you.
And I like. Oh, you good?
No, go on.
I was just gonna say, as like it's kind of like condensation, right? That just like washes over and. Right.
I mean, I feel like it's more like there's a mist that kind of begins to peel off of your hand.
Okay.
Like everything shifts and turns to mist.
I'm just gonna. Does it still smell like poo?
Oh my god.
No.
Okay.
For fuck's sake.
Oh.
Whilst we're here, I would like to ask Alistair just to heal me up a little bit.
Yes, he will heal you up as much as you want him to heal you.
Right, lovely.
And at this point, I was saying Psychic Whispers to everyone. Nothing in our building either.
At this point, the rest of you can have converged with them if you'd like.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So with that, you find yourselves now down inside this very hot and humid room. There's a lava pool in the middle. The stone bridges covering over it. What would you like to do next, Ferra Carta?
I am going to check the floor for traps. Check the floor and walls for traps.
Okay, go ahead. In that hallway?
Yes, so pressure plates, little things to say, I don't know, in the walls,
So,
like arrows.
Roll me a perception check, please.
30.
Nice. Yeah, you look down. You're pretty confident there's nothing down here in the way of like pressure plate or traps. You don't see any kind of runes or anything that would indicate something potentially waiting for you to step through.
Cool.
Hey, do you all see that spider there? The statue.
Mm-hmm.
It like spoke to me, and now it said that I have its blessing and that we need to protect its children.
Oh no.
This door here was locked, and it opened after I had that conversation.
What did we say about staying away from the foliage?
It's strange that gods seem more benevolent than the rulers and kings of the nations that we're trying to help.
My suggestion is that perhaps we're not at risk proceeding here because we've been allowed in this space.
Well, what are we waiting for then?
Wait. Did we know the name of this god? I can't remember.
Zuko randomly figured out the name of the last statue we saw, but I don't think this is the same day, is it?
Oh, if that was you that figured it out, then yes, you know.
Oh, yeah, then...
I mean, it's the same sort of symbol.
Xalam?
Xalam. Yes.
Xalam.
Yes.
So when I was having that communication, would I have gained the idea that Xalam was just fucking talk to me?
You could surmise that. That's for you to decide.
Right, I see. Or at least some servant of Xalam.
Perhaps, yeah.
Never thought that I'd be speaking or contacting gods, but I suppose when you're trying to stop all sentient life in the coast from being destroyed, gods might like that.
Isn't your father basically a god?
Well, I'm not sure if he's more powerful than a god. I'd have to ask him. But he's certainly got some pretty powerful abilities.
Right. Good. Shall we go investigating?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll head down this hallway then. See what we can't find.
Okay. So, as you head down, you can see a larger door on your right, and then some more narrow, maybe like 2 foot wide doors. 3 of them on either side of the hallway, and at the very end is this door.
Do a quick fire round to see if any of them are locked.
Okay. All of the 6 that are on either side of the hallway are locked. The one on the right is not.
Can I have a look inside the one on the right?
Yeah, as you walk past, you can open it up. That was weird. As you open it up, you can see in front of you what appears to be at the moment it seems to be, well, I guess all you really see is this basically empty room, and then this 3 foot high platform, this square platform that meets the edge of the wall on one side opposite the door, and then kind of extends out halfway across the room.
Does it look big enough to be a teleportation circle?
I mean, the space of it looks like it could be large enough for that.
Can I have a look and see if there's any like remnants on the stone of maybe like a teleportation that's been like scratched out or something?
Yeah, roll me an investigation check.
15.
15, yeah, you look, not that you can see, it looks fairly smooth. There's some crumbling here and there, but it mostly seems pretty flat, with certainly no pattern to it.
Okay, cool. Alright, I'm gonna leave this.
Storm, have a look at this.
Oh, what you asking him to have a look at?
This room. That's what we're looking for.
Which room are you referring to?
This room. Sorry, I was just waiting for you. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, the room.
I think he's talking to you, Storm.
Me? I didn't hear my name. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I said Storm, have a look at this. Like, have a look at this area.
Sorry,
Is this what we're looking for?
I didn't. Sorry, I blanked out completely there.
It's all good.
It's alright.
Yeah.
So that room in there, what you see as you step in is like a virtually empty room, and in the middle, meeting the back wall, is this square stone platform that's about 3 foot high off the ground, and takes up about half the space of the room. But that's about it.
Where that stone could go.
Does it look familiar? Like it could be arcane at all?
Roll me an Arcana check, if you'd like. $15. Okay. You look at it. There's nothing telling that it's arcane. You don't see any kind of sigil, runes, or anything of that variety on it.
Not really sure what it could be.
Okay. Perhaps I'm gonna try and like shimmy forward and see if I push on one of the locked doors, if it opens.
On what? Sorry.
So you said like there were like 6 locked doors here, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm just checking that if I am the one who does it, if it opens.
They do not open. You can see they clearly have like metal portions with a lock on it. They're the same kind of metal doors.
Yeah.
What I'll say is, as you walk past them, though, you can see clear sign of like sliding, like a sliding window at the top, like almost like a prison door.
Good to hear. Can we slide one open? Look inside.
Yeah, you look inside. It's about a 10-foot deep room. I'll just say you open up this one, in the middle on the left-hand side, and look inside. You can see about a 10-foot deep room with like I guess like a stone flooring at the bottom, but it's very dark inside. You're looking through with fair darkness.
And they're all, I'm assuming all of these are the similar thing if we took the moment to open them all up.
Yeah, if you would like to take a moment to look through them all, that's the same thing you'd see in all of them. These kind of old looking like small chambers, almost like cells.
I'm a bit at a loss.
What about the one at the end here?
Wish to open that one up?
Yes.
Okay, this one isn't locked. As you pull this door open, what you see is the first thing you see is like this large open square room. On one side you can see where there are a number of armaments and like armor stands and weapon racks on the sort of northern side of the room that begins to kind of stretch down to the south. On the side that you're coming in from, on your left you can see again more of this sort of paperwork. And then on the right, what appears to be like a seating space, and then a bit of storage on the northern side of the room. There are a number of other doors in here, one on the left, 2 on the far wall away from you, and then 1 on the right. It looks like, to you, I guess it looks like a guard post of some kind.
I will take the door on the right up
I'll
here.
go there.
Okay. Sure. As you open up the door on the right, just because you happened to say that first, it too is not locked. As you open it up, you see about a 10-foot high, 10-foot deep, small hallway that leads up like maybe a foot step into another room, a square-like room, and within you can see very clearly on the ground is the etchings out. Ignore the fact it's a pentagram.
The devil.
The etchings out. I may have bought this map, okay, so some of the stuff is not all relevant, but there's the etchings out of very clear, still in working condition, teleportation circle.
Guys.
The runes are unfamiliar to most of you.
I think I might have found it. I'm going to kind of step back and gesture for Storm, because he's our teleportation guy, to kind of come in and see if he can do anything.
Whilst you have a look, perhaps some of us should just quickly check these other rooms for useful
Yes,
things.
just in case, you never know.
Doesn't really help. It's in a different dialect.
You can read languages, can't you, Arya?
If you give me 10 minutes.
Assume it's in Zuriel.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through these rooms very quickly. There's only like a 5 by 5 foot room here. There's literally this empty room except for a small stone slab bench basically on the far end of the room, which is potentially a waiting room for those that are coming through without permission, perhaps like an airport customs control.
Sitting there and thinking about what I've done.
The same seems to go for the room to the north as well, though it's completely empty. The one that you look through, Zuko, it is just like a 10-foot wide by a 5-foot deep room, with like a drain in the middle. Kensei, as you open that door at the top, I'm just assuming it's you because you're by that door. You can see what appears to be like this old kind of contraption, and there is like a cracked crystal that is about maybe 7 inches tall, that's kind of like within this sort of old metallic contraption, but it's cracked and broken.
7 inches?
That is what you see in these rooms.
7 inches, you said?
About 7 inches, yeah.
The stone that Arya nicked wasn't nearly that size, was it?
No.
I thought you were making a dirty joke then.
Yeah, so did I.
I was just waiting for it.
This is dirty 20, alright? We haven't got that.
Look, could I look at the...
Would you come here first?
Oh, all right.
I think Arya is reading.
I'm in the middle of casting, but give me 10 minutes.
I'm just gonna go over. Like, I'm just gonna borrow the stone.
Okay. Sure.
What are you doing with the stone?
I want to see if there's. I want to go into the room and see if there's any part of that jewel that has a bit missing.
Okay.
Sure. You go inside. You can see the crystal itself is cracked, and there are pieces, chunks of it missing. As you look at it, it doesn't look like there's anything that a stone would fit into. Like it appears to be like a cracked crystal, rather than something with a clear-cut place for that stone to be placed into.
What else is in here apart from the crystal?
So along the contraption, that is about it in terms of like other things, but on the contraption you can see runes and sigils on there, but obviously your arcanical knowledge is not particularly strong.
Storm, that was something you might want to look at.
I'm kind of in the moment.
Are you doing something as well?
Looking at this teleportation circle, yes.
Mum, Dad, I found something cool.
Is there a corridor beyond this?
There does appear to be a space beyond it, yeah.
While Storm's kind of looking at that, I'm gonna make effort not to touch the teleportation circle because I don't know, and kind of glide over to the other side.
Sure. There is a door at the end, but
Oh my gosh.
fuck it. As you open it up, you see there is this, rather than what looks like a wooden door there, what you actually see is this massive, like, arched doorway made of this dark steel material. There are runes that etch along the rim of the door, and there doesn't appear to be any kind of like opening. Like, it doesn't seem to like there's no handle or anything to push on the door. You don't see a seam on it, but the frame itself and the middle is all like this dark steel material with runes around the edge.
Can I go over there and try and barge the door down?
Yeah, roll me a strength check.
Can I fight the door? Can I seduce the door?
Classic D&D.
Strength check, yeah?
Yep.
Just start like running your finger sensually along the door.
You put your hand on the door and try to push it open. It does not move, not even an inch.
Damn it.
Thinking back to Sindri's tower and those emblems that were on that wall before that we like pumped spells into, I just want to see if it does anything if I just pump like one cast of Druidcraft into the door.
Sure.
I'm gonna stand well back for this.
Yeah, sure. You do that. Nothing happens.
Can
As you
I?
release that arcane energy in.
Can I try the door?
If you want to.
Can I make a better door?
Try and give it a push.
I mean, it doesn't move. You
Can I
make a
get you an
strength check
exit
to really push it.
No, I just was testing the theory that because I had the blessing.
Oh,
it
I
might open.
see. Of course. Yeah. No, it doesn't open.
I'm not going to try and fight the door.
No.
Sure, that door said some shit about
Oh,
If you give me a few minutes, I can help you read it.
Is the door airtight?
I mean, you don't see any seam on the door at all.
Nowhere like a bug could squeeze through or
Nope.
anything like that.
Not as far as you can see. It seems completely flush.
Yes, we got not a lot of hope there.
Aria?
Aria, I would say at this point your thing goes off. Like you would
Hey.
complete your.
So the symbols appear around my eyes and ears, and I'm going to. First of all, I'm going to try and read what the circle says.
Okay, you can't read any of it. It's not language. They are runes.
Yes. So I assume the door would be the same.
The door is exactly the same as you go over and look at the door. They are runes. I tell you what, roll me an Arcana check to see
Sure.
if you. Now that you can read it, maybe you'll be able to make out what the runes say.
I mean,
Because there might be elements of language.
Natural 20.
there. Natural 20. Wow. Okay. Yeah. As you begin to read the runes on the door, some of them do shift. Like you get the indication of meaning behind it. You get the impression this is a doorway, but not a physical one. This does not open to somewhere. It opens through reality. The runes on the door would suggest to you that this is or at least once was, a doorway to the Shadowfell.
Wow.
But there's no activity here. There's no life that you can see. You did look at the circle, so getting the indication of the meaning of runes, though it's not a kind of magic, you do see elements that would. No, I'm not even going to give you that. I don't think there's no real language to it.
yeah. I think having watched like Storm do so many teleportation circles, I would kind of get the. Would we have like observed by now that in order to finish it, you need basically that one rune of the place you're going to?
I mean, you need more than just one rune, but basically, yeah, it's like you're anchoring one point to another for a moment.
Do I see like a space in the circle that has like that gap?
You do not, but you know that you have been informed that there. Like you look at the stone, or you don't have it at the moment, but the stone that you had when you saw it has very similar runes to it, which you can imagine is less of casting the spell and activating the rune within the presence of the circle.
Okay. Can you bring the stone back, please?
Could someone in Storm Free, can you look at this strange magical contraption now?
No, I'm playing with Storm.
It's enough of me to go around.
It's so popular today, Storm.
I'll just toss the stone back to Aria.
Okay, I'll step out. I'm not stepping into it yet because I feel like that might activate it, so I'm staying outside of the circle.
Sure, you stay away from the circle.
I refer
Wait.
all of that stuff you told me to the group as well.
Cool. What is happening now? Who is doing
I
what?
just wanted to look at it. It just looks like standard teleportation circle. The ones that I
Yes.
can write down in my book and you can teleport back to as well.
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
So write down Gloom Matron Gardens teleportation circle. You have.
The collection grows.
It does.
It does. Did you smile there, Sam, against me? You said that at the same time.
That was exactly the same one. Yeah. So I'm gonna look. Just look. I guess I can read it if it's in the language runes or I don't know.
What? I mean, you can look at the runes
Oh,
and
have
kind
a
of
look,
get an
yeah.
idea of them. I mean, they're not dissimilar to Elvish. This is all in Zodiel, so it is similar to Stellarian.
I'll have a little figure out of it because we don't usually have to put key in when my circles, right? So I'm a bit confused why we needed the key for this one.
Oh, which are you looking at? Which runes are you looking at?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I was gonna look at the teleportation. So
oh, okay. So which ones are you looking at now? The teleportation circle?
Yeah, I'll
okay.
that, yeah.
Roll an Arcana check then.
Hey!
Wow, okay.
Let's go.
I'm gonna be honest. It feels like a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
It is a teleportation
Yeah,
circle.
I thought that.
You know, I mean, you without a doubt know that it's a teleportation circle. You'd also get the indication that there are runes missing from it, but you have seen the stone. You know that it's likely that the stones are used to fill in the gaps so that it becomes more of a universal thing, rather than
It being language.
yeah. But you could teleport to it without the use of the stone. You kind of get the feeling as you look at the circle that it's either for people that can't use teleportation or
yeah.
it's for emergency teleports.
If they're exhausted, yeah, makes sense. This is just essentially a bit of a life raft. Really, I think not the main attraction here.
I mean, we could always just ask Xala how the circle works,
Yeah.
no?
Shall we go?
Have we tried putting the stone in the middle of the circle?
I want to hold off.
I think you've already figured out. I think you got told that you activate the stone when you're in the
Yes,
circle.
so yes.
Okay, so we know that all we have to do is
Step in with the stone.
stone and go.
Yes.
I
But
mean,
are we done here?
we've
I feel like we're
searched-
done.
I
Learn
think
to
so,
look at
yes.
this thing can say
Which one?
sound.
Yeah, that's Xala would want us to find here.
I am worried the longer we stay here as well, that more illithid forces could
Yes.
show up.
There is that dude.
Yeah.
You're against the clock here.
We're
Do you want to
managing our
quickly
resources now, it feels
Look
like.
at this thing and then we'll go.
I'll have a quick gaze over it here.
Sure. Roll an investigation. An Arcana check. Wow. Oh, okay. I thought that was another 30 there for a second. 15. You see that there are abjuration runes, but again, you're not. Maybe the difference in language here is making a bit of a barrier, but you can tell that they are abjuration. They seem very similar, but exactly what their purpose is, you can't tell. You'd need to do further study.
It's no use. I don't know what it is on first glance. We might as well just.
Yeah, just ask Xala.
Let's go.
Just because,
Oh.
Alright.
just because I'm curious, I'm gonna try an Arcana check too, and see if I can figure it out. If that's alright,
Sure.
based on my.
Can I do it as well? I feel left out now.
Can I?
Can we have a go?
One more person does it. 10 illithid are showing up.
I want to do it as well then.
Fuck yeah, I'm too curious.
8. I knew it'd be shit.
Oh, nice.
That's what happens when you roll, and I didn't say you could.
Roll's not showing up. Are they showing up for y'all?
Yeah,
then
she's
the-
doing it to GM, that's why.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
18. I mean, you get the same thing. Like, it's... You've seen some runes before. And you've got runes on your blade, so you kind of get an inkling of what they might... of what certain runes might mean. It's protection. There's runes on there that would indicate protection, like abjuration. But other than that, you're not sure what that means. But the crystal does look like it may have been some kind of arcane power source. At the very least, you can surmise that.
Rejoin.
All aboard the teleportation train.
We don't know where they're going to
Next
come
stop,
out, so...
who knows where?
I will wait for everyone to get into the circle, and then when everyone's in, I'll step in with the stone.
Okay,
It's
as you
safe
step
as
in,
well. Just put it on in mind.
are you activating the stone when you get in?
Yes.
Setting stars is with us as well, right?
Yeah.
Setting stars is
Leave
good.
him behind.
I just couldn't be bothered to go up and drag him down because I knew that nothing was going to happen down here. There was no point.
I was like, like he goes upstairs, like, guys.
Where are you? I'm still at the Gloom Matron Gardens. Alright, so as you step through with the crystal and begin to activate it, holding the rune towards the circle, you watch the runes begin to flick on and on and on until there's this purple glowing light that goes alongside the edges of the circle and then glows within the runes. And eventually there's a flash of purple light, and you watch this kind of this cylinder of purple energy erupt around you and those of you that aren't already in the circle, as it opens only for a brief moment. Those of you that are already in get pulled away immediately, and the others kind of dart in. Suddenly, all of you begin to get pulled through reality, as you're used to doing, as you get pulled across the undercoast towards another location. As you feel that reality warping you and pulling you apart, spaghettifying you for a moment before another light appears around you in a bright purple. As it begins to fade, you find yourself stood inside a smaller looking room, a wooden floor here. That same purple coloration, but you're definitely not underground. You feel a cooler breeze across your skin, and then you get the scent of iron, rich iron in your nostrils, and as you look around you can see there is blood stains all over the ground, corpses on the floor, and in front of you is this tentacled face. This illithid stares down at you. It goes to go and immediately bite down towards you before you hear and suddenly as it hits the ground, you see pulling the blade out from behind a dark-skinned Zuriel with long white hair. Xala stood before you with the shield, the spider shield, pulling the mace out from its head. It's good to see you, but we need to move now. And that's where we're going to take our break. Alright, so we'll be back in 10 minutes, I think, to continue on with the game. Hello, and welcome back. So, before the break, you, Ferra Carta, had begun to search the Gloom Matron Gardens, hoping to find the teleportation circle. It took you a short while, but you did eventually find it beneath the gardens themselves. And during this experience of finding it, Zuko encountered a strange moment of hearing a voice in his head whilst looking at a effigy to Xala. But as you teleported through the circle, having found it, you appeared in another room, somewhere else. Not sure where, but you appeared there. And an illithid was directly in your path, and as it went to strike out immediately, you saw something strike across the back of its head as it slumped to the ground, and Xala there was stood before you with mace in hand and coated in that illithid ichor and blood. And that is where we pick up. So, as you stand in this room, Xala is out of breath, looking towards you. And you can see there are numerous illithid dead around. And in the doorway beyond, there's a small hallway space, and you can see several other Zuriel warriors kind of pulling blades out of their brethren and the like. No.
Nah.
I'm glad to see that you're all alive. I was worried that whatever forces remained at the gardens had got you. I'd heard nothing from you since.
Likewise.
We need to leave now.
Yes, what's the situation here? I assume more than just one.
Yes. We managed to kill all of them that were guarding this outpost, but there are more around. So many more. We need to...
Ow.
It's best if we just move.
Either way.
She immediately turns and begins to march down this hallway with purpose, passing some of the warriors who kind of look up towards you and watch you as you pass before falling in behind. Eventually, you wind down. Let me move you off this map, I think. Yeah, you wind down the staircase, going from floor to floor, more Zuriel and Illithid deceased on the ground, as you eventually head out of this building, which, though it is a similar design, pales in comparison to the size of the gardens. Around the outpost, as you begin to step out, the smaller building, you can see that the area that you're in is not dissimilar. A tall chamber that is filled with webs that don the top of the chamber itself. You see ahead of you where Xala is now immediately making moves. There is no hesitation here, nothing that she's kind of stopping to do. She's found you and she's moving with purpose, and the other Zuriel that you can see are now stationed outside as well, in a similar armor to her, fall into a formation as you begin to head towards this deep cut fissure which leads deeper down. It reaches up at least about 100 feet above in this almost cathedral-like arch, but instead of being artificial, it's naturally carved. She walks without speaking, aside from turning to say, "It's best that we keep quiet for now. At least until we know that we're safe. We don't want any unwanted ears listening to us, and there's quite a few of those around. So keep talk to a minimum. Just keep following me. I'm sure all your questions will be answered, but it's easier to show you."
Waste no
She
time.
continues on. After about an hour or so of walking, Xala throws her hand up in the air. Begins to listen out. Aria, Eridel, you both hear this as well. Distant footsteps. Echoing from deeper beyond in the darkness, right to the edge of your vision. The whole thing is on this like very minuscule slope downwards. In fact, it looks like it may have been carved by an underwater river at some point. Xala, with her hand in the air. Quick, follow me. And she immediately moves to one side, and you can see there's a couple of boulders. She's been looking around for a place to hide, and she leads the whole group, you and about 6 other Zuriel, into a very small tunnel that leads off of this main fissure. And as she waits in there, don't say anything. And slowly, for those of you that heard Eridel and Aria, you hear the footsteps increasing in volume, and now the rest of you can hear it. Several footsteps, and you watch from the cave as about 70, 80 foot away from you, walking from the direction that you were going back towards where you came from, a patrol of Zuriel warriors. That's not one of our patrols. There's about 20 of them.
20.
20.
That's
double fireball.
Just let them pass.
We need to exert ourselves.
I'm gonna turn to Xala. That's a patrol.
Yes. Believe me, there are far more from whence they came. And there were even more than that originally.
Where are we?
We're about an hour out from Rajajan. We've got an encampment not too far away from the city, hidden away. That's where we're gonna go. But I thought I'd show you the city first. Let you know what's happened. Let's wait for these to pass. Give it a bit of time. Probably heading to where we came from. I'm sure they already know that something's transpired there. I'm sorry to tell you that I didn't get the illithid in time. Their leader surely knows that you're here now.
We've had a run-in with them already.
I see. Let's hold any other talk until they've passed. You wait for about 30 minutes. You don't hear the footsteps anymore. I mean, you didn't hear them for about 10 minutes after they lost your vision, but you can see that Xala is the most serious that you've seen her for a long time, and has a completionist look in her eyes, almost, not wanting to take any risks. Right, I think that's long enough. Let's go before they come back. And she immediately gets up and starts to move.
Follow.
Follow.
Okay. You follow on. And she leads you for... I mean, I guess you don't really know how long has passed. It feels like maybe an hour, maybe two. And eventually that dark fissure that was just a complete blotch of black on your horizon begins to fade into light. There's a glimmer of something, some kind of light, purple. It grows and grows. Slowly, after this time of travelling, that purple sheen fades into a vision beyond as you come to the edge of the fissure, as it opens up into a massive, gargantuan chasm. As you come to the edge, you can see a city rests within this massive natural chamber, hundreds of feet below you, bathed in a purple aura. The fissure that you've been walking through has opened up midway up the wall space. The city below you. Dark stone buildings, many hewed from rock face, illuminated by glowing purple street lamps. These buildings are seemingly divided up into districts by wide roads and streets, varying in shape and design from place to place. Parts of the city show clear states of warfare through rubble and ruined buildings. What stood out, taking your eye in particular, is a massive obsidian-like structure contained behind a tall set of walls. The perimeter of this space appears to be particularly obscured by a bright, shifting purple light, like a cylinder of force rising from the foundation all the way up to the ceiling above. Welcome to Rajajan, heart of Mars Headset.
Heart of what?
Mars Headset. It's the queendom here.
Mars has
Girl.
Mars Headset.
Mars has
Oh my god.
Please do not disrespect my culture.
I just look at Aradel like, oh fuck.
I mean, I feel like it's totally in character that she probably did what you just did. Good luck saying that. Well, I don't know why I do this to myself. Maz has that. I can't even say it right.
Oh my god.
In all of the discussion about this, what is that again? What is that name? What is...
You actually have heard this term before, I believe. It means the queendom of Maz Hadsat is the queendom of Water's Edge.
Water's Edge.
You mentioned queendom. Your people's ruler, matron, queen. Is she safe?
That's correct.
She protected?
That information is not known. She's not responded to any sort of messages. When the city was attacked, let's save questions for now. We're very close to the city, and I don't want anyone to hear us.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask him the question, but I won't.
Wait, so you're not in control of this stronghold anymore?
No. This is... I can't really explain it without going into further detail.
Alright.
It is best that we don't stay here for too long. They're prone to patrols. If we get caught, everything we do is for naught. Come, follow me. The encampment is nearby. We'll be safe there, and I can answer any of your questions then. And at this point, she begins to lead you along the ledge of this massive chamber, following it as it goes downwards in a slope. Getting closer to the bottom, she places her hand along one of the walls and whispers something under her breath. And you watch as the wall shimmers and begins to dissolve as spiders break away, crawling over each other to reveal an opening.
So cool.
As she steps through here, the seemingly illusionist wall begins to reseal behind, and before it can go dark, she holds up a torch, a bright flame of light guiding you through this dark interior, and you can see, much like that tunnel you traversed towards the Blue Matron Gardens, you see the glistening of almost like obsidian along the sides. But as you take a closer look, you can see they are the shifting carapaces of several clusters of spiders that run alongside. Through this tunnel, you walk for an additional hour or so. It's claustrophobic, it's dark, and it winds in all directions. But eventually the smell of food on the horizon catches your nose, and the air seems to have a different pressure to it. And then ahead, the opening comes to view as you approach, and a shape immediately moves into the middle, silhouetted against the glow behind, a weapon drawn. Blade calm. I've returned with help. Call the others to meet us at the command tent. And you see this Zuriel warrior stood in the gateway, sheath the weapon again. Mr. Xala, of course, I'll see to it now. And they step away and begin to run off. Xala leads you out the tunnel and into a larger but still quite tight chamber. And as you step through, what you see in front, huddled within this cavern, are clusters of makeshift shelters and tents made from chitin and fungal weave. Families, young through old, sit about the encampment with what little possessions they have left. As you walk through between them, they all kind of look up to you. The children that are playing together look up and kind of pull away, but curious as you pass these people that do not look anything like them. These are those that were able to flee in the initial attacks, not all of them from Rezajan. Many scattered from among the now desolate queendom. She begins to lead you up towards a larger tent. Central, cordoned off from the rest of the families. It's like passing a threshold, as only those in similar uniforms to Xala, or somewhat armoured at least, are walking this area. We have guards stationed along numerous passages that lead into this cave. The Illithid fear the spiders. They will not come here, but if they do, we have plans in place to ensure an evacuation is successful. She pushes open the weave to lead you into this larger tent. And inside, it certainly gives off the impression of a command HQ. A map of the city and surrounding area rests on a flat, topped rock. And around the space are racks of weapons and armours and scrolls and plans, as well as dissected Illithid corpses. This is it. This is where we're operating from. Not luxurious, but it works. We're safe here. I can answer any questions you have, and we can decide what we're doing.
Goodness, where to start?
I'm not sure I've met you before. She kind of looks over towards Stars. It is a pleasure to meet you. I've never been in such a place. So dark. Well, I've never been to a place quite as bright. They kind of give a chuckle to each other.
Just want to tell.
We don't have time for pleasantries, unfortunately. Time is of the essence. I'm going to move you to a map of the city. So you can have a look at exactly what you're looking at.
Wow.
Oh, I love the look of
What?
that snap.
Dreadfish Lake,
Oh.
River Gardens,
Oh, with the.
So I'll give
That
a
is
little...
so
Bridgewater
cool.
Pond, Forest.
Yeah, I'm not taking credit for this, by the way.
Oh, really? Is it not yours?
Yeah, it's not me, it's not me. I'd love to, but it's not me. So,
So, question about your queen. When I assume last time you were in communications was before Razaktan fell, correct?
not me personally, but members of my order, correct? Thank you. Whoever did that.
Queens, kings. She is, I only can imagine your people are capable warriors. She herself a fighter. Possible she's still alive.
There's always a possibility, but certainty, no. Like I said, communications have been unsuccessful with her. I heard that.
I dropped my Animal Crossing coffee mug.
I heard it. Here, like,
Sorry.
before I heard it in Discord. I was like, what?
The whole tent just slowly turns to Aerodel.
She's dropping her goblet. Sorry.
She dropped her Animal Crossing coffee mug.
Aerodel with
Future
an
Queen of the
animal.
Isles, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So the queen's dead.
not good for certain.
Pom,
So
it's
where is
possible.
she?
It doesn't seem like the Illithid are the kind to take political prisoners.
No, it does not seem that way at all.
But we do
It's a
know
bit of
they
a
are
dire
not.
reality.
They're not adverse to taking powerful figures.
At this stage of an invasion, though, they're kind of on all-out offensive now.
Hmm.
We're kind of operating in the dark here. We don't really know what our next step is, do we?
Is there
I
any
need the alphabet.
information about Algonthorn?
I've done some additional research in the time that I could. When we left, I returned here to Rajajan to search for any kind of survivors. Contacted those that I knew were still alive, or hoped at least that were still alive. Since then, we've been able to scout parts of the city, infiltrate, get out alive. Not everyone's so fortunate, unfortunately.
Do you suspect this is their new staging grounds for their next move to surface?
I believe so.
Might mean what we're looking for could be here. The Elder Brain.
Allow me to explain from the start. When we arrived, there were thousands of thralls in the city. Zodiac, Formians, other kinds of creatures found within our lands. That was until a few of your surface, I believe I heard you call it 10 day. When 10 of the sun rises and falls, correct? After roughly around that time, they suddenly all left. Several major forces began to move in various directions. But just before they did, there was some sort of major activity. Many more illithid were spotted and patrols were heightened. And then that purple barrier that went up.
That's new.
Yes, that was not there until recently.
What do you think?
There's a strong oppressive force that emanates from the whole area. I'm sure you felt it when you passed. At first we thought that perhaps they'd found or created a powerful weapon that could be brought through. But then, well, some of the children said they had dreams of Algonthorn, the creature of the night, that had come to get them. And now I can't help but think, what if it's here now? Using the city is, like you said, a final staging ground. As I told you, I managed to, with some sacrifices, get some further information. We raided one of the libraries, praying to see if we could find anything on this Algonthorn. Anything durable, not just myth or legends, real things, real information. We failed, but we did find something. A secret that has long since been buried in the Queendom. Rezajan, the city itself, is built atop a major vein, even, of psi crystals. It's a material that could only be found from the skulls of long-dead illithid. Exactly how so much of the substance found its way here is unknown. There are no records that we could find on this, but we know that they exist. I think that Algonthorn, if I'm correct, intends to use this city to control his forces. It would explain why they can control so... an Elder Brain is a powerful thing, apparently. But enough to control vast armies across such large territories is... well, there's nothing ever written about that. But if a vein of psi crystals, a lot of it could amplify his power. It would explain why they chose this city. But it also means that, if that theory is correct, even if they're just forced from the city, the invasion would surely fail. They'd lose contact.
It must mean that they will want to protect the place at all costs. That's true. Eridel, the cylinder. Do you think it could be some sort of psychic manifestation?
Looks like it. I mean, the Illithid's main strengths come from their psionic abilities. I don't see why it wouldn't be something like that.
Is the barrier protecting the whole city or just a specific location?
You would have seen it was just protecting that area on the map, where it's referred to as the Citadel. And you can see on the physical map itself, I'll draw it on there just because this would be on the map. If anyone actually wants to draw a little purple circle around the Citadel walls, that'd be great, because I cannot do that because Kensei's thing's in the way. It's not your fault. Well, maybe it is. I'm going to blame you anyway. Yeah, like that. So it's a cylinder from the ground that reaches all the way up, hundreds of feet up to the ceiling. It's like a beacon of light. It's like a Minecraft beacon.
Right. And did you say that we saw like an obsidian structure? Is that Earth's Citadel?
That's the Citadel. So you can tell based on its coloration, even though you've got this purple barrier, it's mostly opaque. Well, it's not mostly opaque, I tell a lie. It's very translucent. Mm-hmm. And so you can see the kind of design of the structure. It looks like obsidian, the material of the obsidian that you've seen before.
Right.
From what we saw of that vision of, I'm assuming it was Algornthorn, does the Citadel look big enough to house something like that?
It's hard to really get a gauge on size of this creature. I mean, the city is massive. In your vision, it wasn't like a city-sized creature. The eyes that saw you were more like the size of maybe a 4 or 5 story house. Like, not the eyes weren't that size. The eyes looked like they could fit on a creature that size.
It's not a city-sized creature, but it's eyes. A 5-story house.
It's also a terrace.
Yeah. Oh, God, man. That's what I'm going to use to kill you at the end of the...
I just had this image in my mind of us, like, Stranger Things style, standing in front of this fucking massive eye.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Right.
But we are looking for, like, a chamber, right? Something... Unless that was just, like, a representation... Like, how much of that vision that we saw was literally... You know what I'm trying to say? Like...
Well, if he's moved locations, that from... Going on what Aranon said, Illithid tadpoles grow and develop in a pool similar to the one that we saw. So perhaps Algornthorn was feeding on them while also, reproducing them.
Possible.
So... Then when there's enough, he has no need to stay in the pool, puts his plan into action where there is powerful psychic energy. I kind of turn to Xala. Do you know anything about how psi crystals work? Would he need to be just close to them, or would he need a collection of them kept close?
It's hard to say. My research on it is not strong. I've found some information in a library, old dusty tomes, but I don't know a lot about psionics.
Do you still have that information? Yeah.
No. There was a conflict. Like I said, sacrifices happened.
If this Algornthorn can use them, then perhaps Eridel, you can use them as well. You're a psionic user, right?
Use them to do what?
I don't know. Empower your psionic abilities. If he can do that, the huge purple barrier, perhaps there's something you can do. I'm just...
See, I had the opposite thought, that perhaps I would not be very helpful in this fight because Illithid seem to have a resistance to psionics.
I feel like your attacks have been pretty effective against them, haven't they? Up to this point?
They don't hit as hard as they should.
I don't think that's the...
Do they? What?
No, they have no resistance.
Wait,
Psionic
what?
resistance.
Yeah,
It's like-
we've been having this joke for about
Yeah.
half a year now of how the fuck do Illithid not have resistance
Do
to
they
psychic
actually
damage
not?
at least?
They don't.
No.
Ignore everything I
they
just
don't.
I would
said.
argue that it makes sense in my mind, because if you
Yeah.
use it, you're also open
Honestly,
to it.
I would argue they should have fucking immunity.
Yeah,
No,
that makes way
no.
more sense.
I kind of could see the ruling why they don't have it though, because they're sensitive because they use
Yeah.
it themselves.
Well,
That's
that,
what I
I'm
think about it,
sensitive,
like,
Aubrey.
that is how I have flavoured it to be. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually
How it
the
is.
thing.
That's
but,
what makes sense in my head.
But also, can you imagine being Eridel in a final boss against a creature where it is immune to all the damage he could possibly do?
Yep.
So anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Sometimes
It
it be
really
like that.
works.
fucking useless.
Well, the Illithid don't.
Alright, well, ignore everything I just said.
That
Yeah,
can say?
sure. Give me the Cycris. Make me more powerful.
What's that can say?
Sorry, my mic too quiet. I think I'll...
No, I think it was just because a few people were talking, so it just got lost.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, oh God. Well, the Illithid may not have any resistance to Algonquin light. So,
Yeah, I think that is wise to assume.
how long do these... Is it like regular ore? Do these psi crystals remain active after they're removed, or do they need to be used within a certain time?
I think there's too little knowledge about them to say.
I imagine they are fossilized. Sounds like the way that is produced into amber. Maybe it's pressure and time.
Okay. More. Let's just be honest. Have you been able to track where any of these shipments have been going of the psi crystals?
No shipments that I know of.
Sorry,
The
shipments.
city, it's...
I mean, transports of these things.
No. All I know is that, from what I've researched, that the city itself is built on a deep vein of psi crystals.
We haven't seen any transports. Then it's likely they're still within the city.
They either have a tunnel down there, or they're mining them, or they don't need to access them at all. It's purely the energy.
They're not
I
being-
kind of want to do something, but I know we're going to have to go back out.
If they're not being taken out of the city, they're either being taken to another place, like the Citadel, or they're just, like you said, being left alone, which would indicate that they were using them as here.
When I was kind of stood on that little precipice looking at the city, did I get a sense that there was some very powerful psionics going down?
When you pass the city.
Yeah, when we
Oh,
saw
yeah,
the
sure.
citadel. Right, okay.
Yeah, you definitely would have felt like pretty immense pressure.
Okay. Well, shit. I think we know what we have to do. I just don't know if we have the strength to do it.
You want to
That's
break
right.
the Citadel?
What is that?
That's really good. You should write that down.
Thank you. We need to get into the citadel. It's clearly the place they want to protect the most, which
Yes.
is probably where it will hurt them the most.
Xala, are there any other secret entrances to the Citadel?
No, not that I know of. We haven't found any ourselves. It's a pretty I mean, without the barrier itself, it was a pretty impenetrable location that the Illithid were using beforehand anyway, but I'm not from here. I'm from far eastward. I don't... Where we met is where I was born and spent most of my life. I've been here a few times, but I don't know enough information about the place.
Sorry,
How do we...
didn't meet you there, so I thought you were from here. My bad.
How do we
It's
break
fine.
a psionic barrier?
Whatever's producing it, perhaps, but I think it might be from inside it.
Exactly, that's what I'm
This
worried
is
about.
at least underground, right? What if it's? I mean, I would bet we can't teleport through it, right? It's probably like
I was going to
was it
suggest that. but it might
Aeronon's
be
barrier?
dangerous.
Perhaps it's not a barrier, but a ward. If it's psionic energy, once you get close enough to it, it might enter your mind and convince you to go another direction.
We've not tried to penetrate it, so I couldn't give you any information on that. All of those sound like plausible suggestions.
Gaia, I have an idea. It might stretch you a little bit. But are you able to summon something? Maybe a creature or...
Not that I am currently aware of.
No, you could turn into them, but if maybe we could send us a living scout, maybe.
If... Let's say it is a ward, would intelligence have something to do with you being able to pass through it?
Very well a possibility.
But we do have the, and I kind of gesture to Kensei wearing the circlet. It fortifies his mind, so perhaps wearing the circlet might give Kensei some advantage, if it is a ward, and not just a simple barrier.
It's possible as well. Xala,
Yes.
how long was the gap between... When did the barrier be erected? Was it before or after these side crystals were mined?
Before... What, sorry?
Was the barrier erected before or after the mining of the side crystals began?
As far as I'm aware, there's no mining of any crystals. Like I said, all I know is that
Oh,
the only information that I have is that there are crystals beneath the city that the city itself is built on. I don't know if they're mining it. I don't know if they're using it in some other way. But I'm making the connection here only on the basis of information that I've found. Ancient texts about the city when it was first formed.
okay, let me put it another way. When the barrier was erected, did it come about long after the invasion started, or was it almost immediate right at the start?
It was before. This was before the... This is before the armies moved.
Did you hear the message in your head? You did.
Yes.
And is that when the armies moved, or did they move before that message?
Long before that.
Right.
Long before that.
Okay.
They've been planning this for
If
a
you
while.
recall, I did message you a while back, informing you that we had located one that was moving eastward.
Yes. Okay.
Wait, Storm, I do have a potential idea. Xala, are there any sorts of small flying creatures down here?
Yes. Trying to.
Any sort
My
of,
knowledge of your language is a little.
anything that looks like me, or bats,
Not-
small things with
Uh,
webbed wings?
That's the word. That's the word. Bats. Yes. Like flying rats, right?
Yes, yes, it's
I wish
actually
I
a very
never
apt description.
suggested this now. You
I believe I've heard some of your, in your language, a cloaker or a dark mental. They're not exactly beasts.
Did she just say the word cloaca?
No.
She said cloaca.
Okay.
Cloaca.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Moving on.
It might be a bit of a long shot, but I could ask them to aid us somehow. The only issue is I don't know how high their intelligence, for want of a better word, goes.
I couldn't tell you anything about that. I'm just a fighter. One thing I'll say, I'm pretty good at picking up on tactical knowledge. That barrier, when it went up, reminded me a lot of the fight in Emberforge. Do you recall?
How could we forget?
The illithid that came after the waves of their thralls. They were protected by some kind of barrier. And it was emanating from the Grell.
You think there might be some kind of creature that's causing the barrier now?
Creature or creatures perhaps, or some kind of mechanism. All I can think is if Elconthorn is in the middle of trying to formulate an invasion, would you try to cut your focus, split your focus between two different things? I would have guards protect me. Must I tactically thought? I wouldn't split my focus. And these creatures, as strange and alien as they are incredibly intelligent. We know that. Far more beyond anything of our world.
Perhaps, maybe these psi crystals are heightening the Grell somehow, conjoining them.
Could be.
The Grell are those floating brain individuals, right?
With the tentacles, yes. Sharp beaks.
Been pretty simple to dispatch in the past if we can get close enough.
I don't know how much damage we'll be able to do to it if it's a barrier, though. What is...
It might be outside of the barrier.
We might have to just have a little recon.
We might do.
Do what we can find out about it.
Means we'll have to go through this city, though, filled with illithid and thralls.
Well,
Ever since the invasion, they have been keeping themselves to mostly the royal ward near the citadel. The rest of the city is mostly unguarded,
Perhaps.
though there are patrols that do walk through.
Perhaps we go through, maybe, and I kind of look down at the map, the gateway or the garden, or there seems to be a passageway in between.
I have to ask this before. Are we considering this now, or are we getting in contact with the surface before? Maybe bringing in reinforcements.
I don't think there's much time to do that.
Would we
I think
even be
the
able?
surface might have their hands full.
Would we even be able to get reinforcements down here?
Not quick enough.
True.
I don't think they'd have anyone to spare.
And we did say this was our fight.
We did. I was going to suggest something, but I'm glad that I don't need to. I think we can do this.
So a recon mission to see if we can break the barrier somehow. If we manage to do it, then sneak inside, find Algornthorn and kill him. Simple enough.
How simple enough, doesn't
Make
it?
it sound extremely simple.
Oh gosh, yes, it's going to be quite difficult.
Xala, how many other people do you have in your resistance, so to speak?
In total, or
In total,
capable fighters?
incapable fighters, I suppose. Yeah.
Remaining of my order, 10.
Jesus.
Those that came with me today are the only ones that remain. here at the moment. Others are out searching for survivors. There are another 20 that can hold a sword and wield it enough, but they are not well trained. They'd be merely fodder.
We do need to risk them like that.
I do have a suggestion. She looks over towards you, Aradel. I don't know too much about your abilities or whatever it is that you do, but back in deep water, or whatever it's called, you did something, didn't you? You connected, listened in, found information. That's why you're here, right? Is there a way you can do that now?
Perhaps if I got close enough. I have to be able to see it.
How much of a risk would it be? I mean, they know you're here. They have to. There's no secrecy now.
The thing that worries me about connecting to the hive again is last time I did, it took control of me. Being so close, I don't know how much power they would have to be able to do that. I suppose it's worth the risk, though, for the information.
Like I said, I don't know enough about your abilities to make a call on that. I have no real choice but to trust your judgment. But we cannot afford to be fighting each other.
No, cannot.
We need everything that we have to fight the enemy. And even then, I don't know what chance we really stand, and even if we do win, how many of us will actually survive? Whatever the plan is that we decide on, if you have any final things, any unsent words, take it from someone who has been in battle. Don't wait, because you might not be around to say them.
Kind of strokes his chin.
There will be space for you to sleep. You all look like shit. I can't imagine what was filled inside of the gardens, but it was hell when we were there. And honestly, I don't think I want to know. But regardless of whatever it is that you've faced, what's coming is far, far worse. So rest up. Eat. Drink, if that's what you wish. One last night of merriment, perhaps.
Thank you, Xala.
She just, having said that, like, recognizing the stuff that's happened, she kind of goes within herself for a moment, and as you say that, she kind of flickers out of it. Thank you. As well.
We wouldn't have come this far if it wasn't for your information and the sacrifices that you and your people have made.
I know that some of you have more of a stake in this than others, but some of you not from this land at all, and yet you risk your lives to protect it, its people. All those people out there, she points back towards the entrance of the tent. That's why I do this. Because my life is so insignificant compared to everyone. All the innocents who will suffer if I do nothing. And in at least some of you I can see the same. When we first met, Sib was very... Well, there was a unique dynamic. She turns to Eridel. Some of us didn't see eye to eye. But I can say with my whole heart that I respect you. Now please get some rest. I don't think it's wise to try and formulate plans when you are bleeding all over the floor.
I think my old sword master said that once.
Then he was a very wise man. Or she was a very wise woman, Xala would probably say.
Let's get some rest.
Sounds like a good idea. I'm pretty beat up.
Guess we'll
So,
start.
yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, yes, I'm just...
Guess we'll start making our way out the tent. Try and find
Okay.
somewhere to sleep.
As you exit the tent, as you begin to exit, she'll say, someone will show you to your spaces. I've had something arranged for a few days now. There'll be food waiting at the, I suppose it's like a canteen, larger tent in the middle. Big rectangular one, you'll be able to smell the food. Drinks available there as well, what we have left anyway. Hopefully your taste buds will be able to take it. Have you ever had Duragar ale before?
No.
No, but I have heard stories.
Well, you will probably be throwing up. Don't drink too much of it, you cannot be hungover tomorrow.
Of course not.
And as you all begin to head out, Arya, I have a word.
Sure.
She waits for everyone else to exit. She kind of like paces and places the mace on a rack, takes the shield off. I probably should live by my own words. Don't sit on them. I could tell that when we first met, there was definitely something between you and Eridel. Would I be right in saying that? Something at least. She seemed very she seemed jealous, if I'm honest.
At the time, yes, there was. Yes.
Would it be prudent for me to ask if that something is still there?
There was once a moment where I thought that it could have been something beautiful.
Oh. No.
But it turns out that not all things are meant to be.
I understand that. If you'd like. And please, obviously, if you feel a certain way, then I don't want to intrude. she got so upset that she turned her camera off.
I'm done. I'm out.
I get enough rejection in real life. I don't need it to happen in my D&D.
This is supposed to be fantasy.
You wanted angst.
I'm loving it.
If you'd like, then I know that I would prefer not to spend my last night alive alone. How about you?
Oh wow.
Mass Effect dialogue.
Completely.
Bang, 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 bang. Well, I guess I'll go with that one.
Anyone down there that says save the world, but we'll ignore that.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh, you have put me on the spot. I won't lie to you, Xala. I was very attracted to you from the moment I saw you. Oh. I would very much enjoy your company.
But there's a but, right?
Everybody's got a butt.
There is a little voice in the back of my mind which is saying it would be a little bit inappropriate, considering that Erdal is with us here.
Of course. I understand.
Still, very much like to sit and chat with you. I've got lots of questions about your Prince of Gloom. It sounds fascinating.
I thought you said you weren't interested.
People change.
Well, even if it is just a friendly conversation, your company is enough.
Like that very much.
Shall I meet you there?
Yeah.
Okay. As you leave, she watches. Okay, so. Right. So as you exit the tent, those of you that weren't having a conversation about boning, I'm met by another Zuriel who proceeds to lead you around within the kind of like compound of tents that near the command one. And there's a slightly larger one, a set of 3, that are set aside, and you can see that they like open up the tent and show you some space where you can make a camp of some kind if you want. They're kind of like clustered together. They're kind of openings facing out towards like I guess it's like a festival. You have a group of people at a festival. There's lots of camps, lots of series of tents around, but they're like their own little camps, and that's what this is like. There's a series of 3 larger tents that all face in towards your little kind of camp space. They are, nice looking tents. This sort of almost I was about to say transparent, more luminescent sort of lilac-like material that makes up the actual canvasy-like sheets that are the tent. And you can make some space in there if you want to have some kind of camp space, I guess. So the Zuriel warrior will leave you there as they proceed to head off, and you have this time to yourselves. You can smell the food coming from further down. You can see, I guess, the slightly larger tent above the others and some steam rising from that location. What would you like to do? So, just so you know, no, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything yet. I feel like that will ruin it.
You're gonna give us the video game option if you go past this.
Guys,
point.
it's the final night. I have to speak to the
I
party.
mean, I was about to say the rest of this session. I want to give a disclosure here. The rest of this session is an opportunity for anything else you'd like to do.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's kind of hitting that point of where I don't want to go any further because
the last
Hayden is
save
not there.
point.
So just so that those of you, I don't want it to feel like suddenly the pacing has dropped and that anything along those lines. I'm just kind of letting you know that, irregardless, this is space for you to do as you wish with, to role play, to do anything you want to do before the potential final night. It might not be the final night, but it certainly is before the point at which I want to have Hayden here. So, this time is yours. What I will say, actually, as you begin to set up for your tent, you hear in your voice, Storm, hey. Like a breath of like, okay. Massive Force left the ruins several days ago. Didn't have the arcane stamina to message. We're going after Commander's subterranean. Capiche?
Hey.
This is Droplet.
I'm walking here.
The member of Droplet, the water genasi, that is a member of the. Were you there for that session? Maybe that was the session you missed. So these are the members of the Noon's Eclipse. There is a wizard there who is a water genasi, who has messaged the party a few times.
We sent them on a mission to the archaeology dig where
the site that we wanted to check
Dalish or
out.
Drafe. I can mix up Dalish and Drafe. It's probably Drafe, not Dalish.
It was
Drafe.
Drafe. Dalish. Dalish is the Institute one.
Yeah, I have a thing for names that begin with D-R-A.
It's definitely Dralith. No.
Dralith.
Get it wrong.
Drafes and Dalishes.
Game. Okay, I'll reply to that then. I'll expend this slotty. Droplet. You're coming underground.
Really?
Wow, smooth.
Are you?
Because he paused the first time after. Hey, Droplet.
I'm done.
Hey, Droplet.
Are you aware of our location? We are outside Rajikjan. Seems like this is where it ends.
You get a message back. No idea where that is. Where you were heading, though, right? Don't think we can meet you there. We got a job to do. You know?
Back. I want to use all of them. Of course, your services will be better required. Sure, we can handle it. Commander.
Was that you? I've just realised that she spent the slot, so you could have replied without a slot.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So she has used another slot. This is your reply slot. Sorry, you weren't finished with that, I don't think, right?
I'll put the slot back because I used that, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll just respond.
I'll start again quickly. Going after commanders, you say. Sounds fruitful. We'll manage down here. I hope. That way your Noon's Eclipse go. The sands of fortune follow.
I so badly want her to reply to that, but she's not got the slots. I'm more of a water girl, not a desert. You know, being the whole
We are Capulet.
Genasi thing. Yeah. So that is the reply she gets from her. You get from her. Sorry. What was that, Kensei?
Well, no, that was Jack asking. Sorry.
Oh right.
Would she be seen as a god there in the
Oh,
dunes?
yes.
In the desert.
Oh my god, that would be fantastic.
Made of water.
Or what's Genasi are seen as holy beings?
Definitely something I've considered.
God damn.
Literally.
So, who wants to sleep in the lamp tonight? Cozy. Might be a last chance. Who knows?
Don't say that.
Don't all jump up at once. Bloody hell.
I was muted. I said I wanted to go inside the lamp.
Well, we can head in there later, but for now I think let's grab some of this food and maybe a drink, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I also do have those dragonic mushrooms that I'd love to see. What they
Oh
do.
my god, get high before the final battle.
Probably not a good idea, Zuko.
Well, there's not another chance to make any mistakes, perhaps, so we'll find out.
How about we see it as a promise to survive? There you go.
Good idea. We can celebrate by imbibing.
Well, you can.
Good points, yes.
Oh, I'm not there, by the way. I
yeah,
realised I
you're
shouldn't
not.
have said that. I'm not there.
I just want to let you guys know, if you do pass this point, there is no further way. Like you can't go back. So just to know, you haven't got all of the orbs of ceiling collectibles yet.
Ah,
Damn. Oh,
I didn't
completionist in these goes
complete.
crazy.
I didn't complete the quest line with Rai because I thought that I could go back to it, but
Damn.
It is an open world, so once you finish the story, it will reset to
Reset.
Just before the final battle, yeah.
right.
Anyway.
As I'm kind of leaving my wonderful evening with Xala, I will just turn and say to her, how about this? You and I both make it out of this. And you have to try really hard to stay alive now. We both make it out of this. And I will owe you what you ask of me.
I'm not really sure if I want you to owe me it.
This is something that I would not mind being in debt for. Many things I would mind, not this.
You sure that's not crossing a kind of like boundary there? Like, what if you don't want to afterwards? You kind of.
Shut up.
All I heard was Xala.
Oh my gosh. Incentive to stay alive.
If that is your wish, then. Alright.
I don't want to hear you call yourself insignificant again. Couldn't be farther from the truth.
It's hard not to go through an existential thing right now, though, right?
Oh boy. That sums it up, yes. Alright. You have a deal. Oh! One more thing. I give her a little kiss on the cheek. And then I leave.
You see that blood flushes into her cheeks. She kind of looks around to see if anyone's looking and then pushes onwards back to her tent. So, is there anything anyone wishes to do this night before you presumably take some rest?
I think that we should sit around a campfire together.
I would be passing out drinks as we sit down next to the campfire.
You get given like
Dugar ale.
Yeah, I'll say you get like these big, purple wooden flagons filled with like frothy black ale in there. It's got earthy tones and it's a really strong spicy kick, and it is very alcoholic. It's like ale with the alcoholic content of like whiskey or vodka.
What?
It is so strong.
Oh my!
Before we delve into that though, Gaiak, you wanted to do something. Would this be before or after?
It's like after, like when we're about to rest,
Sure.
sort of thing. I think.
Okay, so you bring the drinks around. You've collected some food. It's not the most appetizing or hearty. It's like mushroom soups with these kind of different coloured mushrooms in there, which gives it a sort of like almost green tinge to the liquid. Storm, I assume you wouldn't be drinking alcohol, right?
Just like, do I get past one?
I mean,
I'm
one
giving
would
them
get
to
past
everyone.
to you, I guess.
I look at Setting Stars. What's Setting Stars doing with his?
I mean, he's already started drinking. It is very strong. Oh, that is embarrassing.
Storm, have you ever had alcohol before?
I was put off of it quite young. I might as well have not have had it.
Well, this is certainly a strong point to start at if you want to now. This is maybe just
Any further confessions anyone wishes to make before we hurtle towards our doom?
I had something that I've been feeling a little guilty about. That I need to admit. I did not, in fact, bed a vampire. I just wanted you to
Really?
think I was cool.
Oh my goodness, the shock, the horror,
I just
Zuko.
thought that might be something that you would all respect.
Believed you.
How could you lie to us?
Yes.
Believe me?
No.
So good at lying.
Really?
I thought you all believed it.
Does the word good mean something different in the language?
No. What?
There is something that I should probably tell you all as well.
Go
I
on.
have a son.
What?
What?
I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been a bit of a bombshell.
That would have been a bombshell, considering I'd always thought you'd never gone to bed with anyone.
Guy just very nervously looks around at the floor and just grabs the drink and.
Be careful there. Oh my.
How old are you, Gaiak?
Are you talking in your calendar years?
Yes.
23.
Huh.
How many years is that in Arakocra?
That's a great question.
Dog years.
I don't know about this.
For 3 years.
Times by 7.
Right. I haven't used that calendar in a very long time.
Nothing
I'm
to
not
research
entirely
when we
sure.
get back.
It's okay,
Just-
you've been away from home for a while. We understand.
Just thinking about it. Do we know each other's ages?
I've never asked.
I'm pretty sure I've stunted a few years, but
I can say it again if you like.
Hmm.
Sure. How
Well,
old
we-
are we all?
I'm 33.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
How much?
Actually 33? Or
Yeah.
like stuck in a 33-year-old's body?
What?
Have you
I
stopped
just
dating since
mean,
Mask was put on,
Kensei,
or-
in the best way possible for a man of 33 years age, give the wisdom of someone who is at least 300 years old.
What is the phrase on the mainland? I've seen some shit.
I just like raise my glass and have a big swig.
Well, one thing is for sure can say, you have been popping off the past few fights we have been in. Like you have been going crazy with your like finishing moves.
I've just been able to sit back and watch, honestly.
Yes, it's been
little
delightful.
I think it's mainly because we usually eat these things. It's very disconcerting for them to try and eat me.
Yes,
I
I think you saved my life in that last fight. I was very, very close.
Thank you.
I think that. Sorry, Storm, you go.
Hold on. I was just going to say, I'm glad we don't have someone handing out life debts this one around. A lot of life debts.
Oh, we do actually do that in my culture. I've been keeping a tab.
No, you're not serious, right? You know they're very serious.
He like stares at you for like a brief, like an uncomfortable 10 seconds. Of course, I'm joking. Yes.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Wait,
I'm gonna.
What do you mean by life debt?
You know when someone enacts saving your life, you are indebted to them. You owe them your life.
Then you, for the rest of your existence,
You must follow them into death, into afterlife. Yes.
The afterlife. What is the afterlife for you?
For me, it's an interesting one. Usually, rebirth. So after a nice committed to the sky. Excremented out of a vulture. We believe the Matahari shines our remaining residual light on something else that's born.
What if you use it all?
Our residual light.
What if there's nothing left over?
There is a point where dense, yes. Point where we shone our last brightness on this world. There's nothing more we can teach or give.
Quite a beautiful belief.
I've never considered the idea that there was an end.
What do you believe?
If you die in battle, if you're a warrior, or whatever honorable trade that you are proficient in, when your body is burned, the ashes rise into the sky and are taken to the halls of glory, where you sit and feast and fight and do whatever you please for the rest of eternity.
With all your memories?
With all your memories, all your kin who have passed on before.
Forever seems like a long time. Do you not grow weary?
Of feasting and fighting. How could you?
Do all of you not believe in, all have some kind of afterlife belief or something?
Yes. I do, at least. I'm not sure about everyone else.
Zuko?
What does afterlife look like for me?
Hmm.
Well, I believe that I will return to the elemental plane of air, or some part of me will at least. I don't know what form that takes. I suppose it's not too dissimilar to Storm's reincarnation.
Dare I ask, but Arya?
Huh?
I don't
What?
suppose you have any beliefs about...
I believe in the air in my lungs, the wind at my back, don't really practice any religion. I just believe in life, I guess.
Gaia?
Well, I haven't been connected to a Sifa for a very long time until very recently, but in terms of the afterlife, when one of our clan would pass, we believed that our feathers hold pieces of ourselves and memories, and we would gift feathers over several days to the winds, and those feathers would carry them to a Sifa, and they would join her as the winds. I never got to do that for my father.
It was the same for me with mine. I don't think I ever told you. I think Gaiak maybe was there. We met a Drakenloft soldier. And he told me of what happened to my father after I left the Isles. He never got a funeral. His soul was never sent to the halls of glory. Never given the proper rites.
Did not die in battle.
He died in battle, but if you are not burned, if you're not returned to the element, then your soul is caged in this world.
I'm very sorry. It is different, but I understand your pain.
I sometimes wonder if he roams that shore, wondering why he can't leave or where we are.
Is he beyond helping?
I'm not sure.
Perhaps that's something that we could do next.
If we are not in the afterlife, us.
I don't believe we will be. This isn't the end for us. This is the end of something, yes.
If I am to not return, I know this might sound strange, but take a handful of feathers to Rye.
Of course.
Not for me, for her. I think she would appreciate having some sort of goodbye.
We would honor this, of course. Not.
If I don't make it out, perhaps take the lamp. Do what I couldn't.
Aria, don't sell it.
I would really appreciate if you didn't sell it.
Lamp is a great thing to have. Why would I keep it, if anything?
Aridel's gonna look in her pouch, and she finds like a crumpled up letter. I wrote this a very long time ago when I thought that Gwaine was after me. I wrote a will of sorts. If I should die, burn my body. If I should die, then return my weapons to Jennifer and Eva. If I should die, find Belinda and spit in her face one last time. And if I should die, kill Wayne and spread his lungs upon a broken rib cage as of eagle's wings.
Oh, sounds gory,
I
but
don't know if we do
Metal.
that part very well, but we'll try our best.
It is the worst punishment. And if I make it out of this, that's what I plan to do.
Does anybody else have any last wishes?
I do have something to give you all. Do you remember when I gave you those snail shells? On the way down here, I thought I would give you some more. I've carved them. They're much better than the last ones. The last ones looked like they were made by children, but these ones I've put a lot of time into. You like them?
Yes, go on.
No.
Let's see them.
Kind of opens his pouch, and he takes out this handful of snail shells, and he very excitedly but nervously looks at each one, and kind of places it in everyone's hand. And yeah, you look at them, and all of them, rather than the other ones where they had very clear images carved into them, it's kind of it's like a language that I guess Arya would be able to read it. It's a word in a language with a kind of design around it. Kind of floral, viney design carved into it.
What does it say?
Well, 1 second, someone is knocking on my door.
My brain palace is being questioned.
His brain palace is being assaulted.
Sorry, C4.
Another McDonald's.
McDonald's.
She was like, whoops, sorry, wrong head.
So it kind of goes around. It's in Oren. I assume Arya will be able to read it. He goes over to Aradel's first. Yours is a phrase that we use to describe when two enemies become closer or friends. You don't look too happy.
You can see there's tears in her eyes, and she's like,
It's a good thing. It's not an insult. He goes over to Kensei. Yours is the word for a tutor or a mentor. You have taught me many things and made me a better fighter. He goes over to Zuko's. He kind of picks up his. Your one is a little bit more difficult to explain. It's a mix. It's a term for endearment. It's a mix between lovable and stupid. But it's what you'd call your best friend when they do something stupid.
Thank you.
Arya, he goes over to yours. Well, I guess you can read yours. And it's a word for. It's like a combination of two words that mean it's like a. I guess he would explain it because maybe you wouldn't know what it is. Yours is a word for what you would call someone who is very close to you, but perhaps not a sibling, like a sister.
Very,
Brother
very
from
nice.
another mother. And Storm, he goes over to yours. Yours is what we would call I know what you believe in, and I thought it would mean something. This is what we call the sun, or the light from the sun.
Thank you, guy. I really appreciate. Pops it in his top pocket of his jacket.
And then he goes over to Alistair, and when I was talking about burials, yours is what we would name part of the process, the winds that carry us to a sea first. I guess you would call it a harbinger. I just Alistair's not here, so I don't know whether he'd like that or not.
Cheers, Guyek. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We'll make it a clip. And
That's really nice. Thank you for that, guy. It's really lovely.
It's actually
Kayak all of a
Aryan in
sudden
disguise.
transforms into like Leolor climbs out of his mouth.
No.
Yes. I made them, not him.
You immediately drop to 0 hit points. You are not stable. You have 3 death saves and you're dead.
Damn. Execution.
Alistair being played by Vinnie Jones.
I want a hug. That was so nice.
He goes over and he gives you like a big hug, wraps his wings around you. I'm sorry if they're not perfect. I wanted something to give you all as a thank you.
I think they're perfect.
They are perfect because you willed them so.
As he tries to like get out some words, you see a little tear kind of roll down and drip off the bottom of his beak.
There have been a couple moments on our journey when I really didn't think that we would get here. But I'm proud that we did.
Whatever happens, we got this far, which is an achievement in itself.
You're right. I don't know if you all remember, but that night in Dayford when all hell broke loose, I told you to remember who you are. I can see that you have. We're going to do incredible things.
Aridel's gonna send a kind of guilty look towards Arya.
Just stare at the fire we have in the middle.
I'll pick up my glass. A toast to Ferra Carta.
To Ferra Carta.
Carta.
To Ferra Carta.
You said it, Carl. And you can see Stormboy's
Ferra Carta, I guess.
Yes!
not you!
Oh, I didn't give one. I didn't bet one for stars. You are the
this
best
happens,
boy.
I no hard feelings about the.
I'll make you one tonight.
It is no. It is okay. I understand. You know, these are your friends, your companions. Even though you know that you have known me longer than this one, and these two, you know, I thought that perhaps we were closer than we are. I felt a real kinship with you, Kayak, especially after Strisk I found out.
Yes.
I'm fucking with you. It's okay.
Before he says that, you do see Gaiak pull. You see Gaiak's very sneakily got a shell by his side, and you can hear him kind of scratching into it.
You have no obligation. I understand.
Since he didn't have a drink, Kensei just grabbed the nearest empty glass that was on the table and just toasted with everyone else.
Yeah.
So, when do we get to see under that mask?
Bit of a sensitive topic.
I want to be there the day that it comes off, though.
Oi, oi.
Can say
Yes.
we have been together for a long time, you know. And I want to see. I want to see this for you, you know. I appreciate all this talk of, you know, dying and what we want to do and if we die, but I want Kensei to get that mask off. I want him to live to see that.
Do you
We will.
remember what you look like?
Vaguely, yes. Yes, vaguely. It's been a while. It's, I was quite surprised, actually, by the... by how spiritual most of you actually are. It's actually... Mainlander ways have always seemed so strange to me ever since I came here. the Parisians, we don't really... The Parisian way, we don't really think too much about the afterlife because we don't really care whether there is one or not. We don't really worship any gods. The way we see it, all the important stuff happens while you're alive. What isn't after you're dead? What does it matter? When I came here, the guy when she said this, when I came here, I wanted to die. It was why I took on work as a mercenary. I wanted someone to finish me off. To put an end to this. And I just gestured to the mask. But seeing how you all have grown considerably, it has inspired me to want to live again. If only to see how you all turn out.
God, I dread to think.
Yes, there were a few moments where I started to think that as well. But I'm interested to see what happens. I want to be here. I had no other purpose to be here otherwise. So I want to be with you all when we go moving forward.
Whatever happens.
Who can say?
The end.
When there are a couple of things, if I did die, that I would want you to do. I want you to take this mask and toss it into the ocean. It comes off.
How about another plane of existence that help you?
That would help as well.
You can do that.
I want it to be used on... I don't want it to be used ever again.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a plane of eternal lavatories we can put it.
I've heard
Bring
it's
up
the elemental plane
lavatories.
of water, those suckers.
Well, there is somebody's ass that we can shove it up.
Gwaines.
Miyamoto, but sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tribute to my death would be
Oh,
to
yes.
shove them up
That's
your
probably more fitting.
Genevieve's ass.
I'm gonna walk over to Kensei and just put my hand on your shoulder and just say, Miyamoto doesn't know what's coming to him. He's going to get it.
It's really hard to tell, obviously, because he always has the mask on. But I get this. I feel like by now you're probably kind of used to picking up on Kensei's moods.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that to him, he kind of like puts his hand in your hand. But when he looks at you, you get the sense he's giving you an expression that someone gives a child when they've said something very silly, like, "Oh." Like it's like, oh, that's cute. But no, he doesn't say anything. But it's just that.
Squeeze a shoulder and move back to my seat.
The rest of it, I won't say because I plan to see through this. I plan to see you all after this is done.
Any last
Fuck, I'm
confessions?
stupid. That's my one.
That you want to live?
know that I fucking miss drinking.
I'll buy you your first drink as soon as we get that off.
I do have a confession, Eridel, actually, now that you mention that. Since the first conversation we ever had, I have deeply, deeply regretted the first thing I ever said to you.
Oh yes, that comment about my hair. I distinctly remember it.
I was nervous, okay?
And I have a feeling that it wasn't actually intended for me, but for Val'Aeria.
Yes, I think that my player thought that he was actually talking to Val'Aeria, but he wasn't. So.
Who's Val'Aeria?
Oh, Val'Aeria, she was wonderful. She's a friend of mine.
Oh.
A fire genasi.
Oh. Interesting.
She was wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's kind of insane how you have bumped into so many genasi on your adventure, and I have never met another one.
It seems like genasi just don't really want to stay in their planes. Seems like something's maybe not quite right with them. And I kind of give Zuko a little pointed look.
All we need is an earth one, and then we will have all of the elements.
The Infinity genasis. Yes, well, you know, it's no secret that I was displaced from my home. But hopefully we'll all get to go there one day, and you can see it for yourself.
Ah, fuck. I don't know if I should say this is going to change the mood, but... Probably not going to get another chance to speculate on this. Well, I don't know. Maybe. Something that always... No, I'm not going to say it. She's going to trail off.
What was it?
Doesn't matter.
I know that, like, I haven't told you everything about what happened with me and my father, but I'm just not ready. I'm not a fool. I can tell that you think there's more to it, and there is. But perhaps after. I have no intention to lie to any of you.
Okay.
Well, on that note, I think I will drink.
I'll hold up a glass again.
Takes his first swig.
Yay!
Not sponsored.
Yeah!
Finally.
He physically looks repulsed even before his lips touch the glass.
Does he do that thing that cats do with their top lip kind of like recedes, showing their teeth when they go?
See the hairs stand up on the back of his neck and his eyes widen.
We are far too miserable for a group of seasoned warriors.
Who have done some pretty fucking incredible shit.
We are facing a deadly threat.
The deadliest.
The deadliest, potentially, that we will ever face. But we're fucking awesome. We've fought dragons. We've been to the abyss and survived. Most of us.
We fired a cannon in the middle of the night without permission. That was fucking awesome.
I've been struck by lightning.
And nearly died twice.
And did die once.
He was eaten whole by a giant frog.
Yes.
Oh yes.
What a battle.
Whatever.
I believe I beat two of you at once in a fight in a tavern in Porto Minor, recall this?
They have never told
you
me
were
that
not
story.
with us at this point.
Did you?
Yes, I
Fight.
feel like I won that one?
No, it was I.
I think I remember winning that one.
You've been through a lot. I understand your memory may not be correct on that.
You
Listen,
may have trouble remembering. Yes.
changelings have very good memories.
A change never forgets.
Changeling?
Oh, yes.
Oh, actually, I do know this
I
because
think
you
you
did
have,
this in
yes.
a very long time. This
I'm-
was literally 6 months ago.
Yep. I'm gonna turn into stars.
Wow, it is
Stop
not even
flexing.
been a year. I am a handsome feline, I must say.
Sometimes.
I get all the pussy.
Wow.
I
Oh
I
my
don't think I know
goodness.
you once you've had a drink. You just seem like such a different tabaxi. I thought I knew
I don't understand. What do you
you.
mean?
Once you've had a little bit of liquor, you know what it's like back in home. You're one of them traveling alcoholics, aren't you?
No, this is not correct.
I'm pretty sure you were one of them roaming booze heads.
I'm going to get some sleep now.
Exposed, call me
yeah.
4K. Oh, yes.
Could you turn into us?
I can turn into anyone.
Have you ever done that?
Would you like to know?
You can't just
Can
laugh.
you
It
turn
gets
into
away with
someone?
that.
Can you turn into someone based off of like just purely a description?
I mean,
If you had a base and then we changed things.
if you showed me an image of them, then yes. I have to have seen them before.
No. Are you planning what I think you are?
What are you planning, Gag?
No, I was just. It doesn't matter. Never mind. It's fine.
All I'm saying is, Arya, is there ever a time where I've had a conversation with, say, Kensei, but really it was Arya? I don't like that you're
I
not
don't think we've
confirming
ever
or
spoken
denying
to
it.
each other, dude.
We've never had a conversation ever, Kensei.
I don't think we've ever spoken to each other, Suko, before
This
this
is the
point.
first time we've ever met.
Who are you?
I don't know. I've forgotten who I am.
I
And
believe
then
that is
I shape change into Arya.
Wait, what?
I don't. But that would be great.
I believe that as good as Arya is at performance, there is a distinct Arya-ness about her manner.
This opens up
Right.
so many.
I think
so
we
many
might be able to
possibilities.
tell if it was Arya regardless of
Well,
person.
perhaps you would.
This,
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you know her best. Sorry, I was there. I'm
He
sensing
said
a
the
little
thing,
bit
he
of
said the thing we were all thinking.
I mean, she's seen me naked, so, you know.
Oh god.
That is true.
Oh god's above.
And I've seen her naked too.
Lest we ever forget.
Mm.
No one's seen me naked in 40
Haven't
years.
we
The
all been to
FOMO,
the
the naked
bathhouse?
FOMO.
Do you
40
bathe
years.
clothed, Storm?
I don't bathe with you.
I thought we'd been to a bathhouse at
Remember
some point.
that time that we'd had a hot bath at Ravenwood Manor for a fucking long time? Do you remember that?
I'm pretty sure I had the servant to keep the water for me because I didn't want it to be wasted. Yes.
Oh, why you
Yeah.
remember that?
I distinctly remember Kenzie in a towel.
or was it Arya? We will never know.
Maybe.
So many possibilities. I mean, is Rai even alive, or was it you the whole time?
I don't think
Yes,
Arya could make a
Was it me?
doppelganger.
I can't remember if I've ever actually seen them in the same room together.
Could make a little tiny one
Only one of
Man.
Out
what?
of water.
out of water, or I can just make an illusion
Of what?
of me
Oh. Why? For fun?
for funsies.
Why not?
I don't know if this is the alcohol speaking.
You've had one sip, Storm.
I think I miss home.
You do?
Yes.
Have you ever felt like that before now?
Not like this. Not this, there's this tether that's always been severed. Found itself rooted back from my core, from my veins. I'm being pulled there.
Isn't that what any being wants?
No, I didn't want to be there.
I don't mean a place, but a home. Somewhere they feel safe, protected.
Well, our people, we don't have this one home, one place. I guess people are the place. People are the home. That's the thing with caravanners.
Whatever happens tomorrow, we've done great things together. And we've fought and bickered. But when it comes to it, we have all stuck by each other. We've laid down our lives for each other. And as special as it is, I don't think that our group is unique in that. There are plenty of others just like across the coast, seeking to protect what makes them feel safe, protected, and comfortable.
I think their last conversations too, probably.
Not if we can do something about it. So tomorrow when we go to the Citadel, that is what we should remember. We're fighting for home. She's gonna raise her glass. To home.
To home.
Home. I grab another empty glass from the other end of the table.
As you cheer, you hear, "To home." And you see, stood at the perimeter of your camp, someone that stands out harshly from the denizens here, even certainly to you. A large individual.
Did he live?
With bronze and golden scales. Colourful
that's
eyes.
Wait.
Eyes that kind of shift in colour. Strong dragonoid tail. So he carries a hefty crossbow on his back. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. As Rusty stands in front of you.
I know Ben's not here right now, but Gaiak will sprint at him and just like grapple him, like.
As you sprint up and grapple him, that is where we end the session there.
Jeez Louise.
That was such a beautiful episode, guys. We are so very close to the end.
Damn.
Alright, we've had our obligatory heart-to-heart, now we're all safe to be killed off. Go.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say it, man. Don't.
The next few sessions are going to be pretty heavy. So that was a wonderful end to that series of, I guess, kind of run-up episodes.
Can I just add one tiny thing for flavor?
Sure.
Just for flavor. Like just before everyone goes to bed, Arya would have taken out the picture she found in the manor in Ravenwood of her real father, and she would have like just stared at it before, and like playing with the pendant as well, the platinum pendant. And she would have just stared at it.
You guys have not gone to bed yet.
Yeah.
I know that like this where we're ending. We'll probably kind of run into it in the next session very quickly, because I know a few people have asked me about specific things they'd like to do before they go to sleep. So we will do that. But I think that is a good, nice area to round that session.
Okay, I'll save that then.
So we'll pick up anything that's like that.
Sure.
At the beginning of next session, and then we'll kind of like lead right into wherever it goes next.
Sure.
Yeah, that was great, guys.
Yeah, that was real fun.
That was so wonderful.
Wow.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Just the proximity to, at the very least, end of this arc is kind of crazy. Yes. So, once I try and get Sirenscape to work again at the end of that, just crashed for me. I don't know if it did the same for you. We'll go through our shout-outs once again before we close off for the evening. So, I'm going to dump them all in. Mitch, would you like to go first?
I can indeed, sir. I can indeed. I can tell you about a little channel called twitch.tv/Natural Wonders, where me, Jay, Sam, and Ewan, and a couple of other friends, we play Star Wars Edge of the Empire, which is a great TTRPG. If you liked tonight's session and you also like sci-fi/Star Wars, I'd come and check us out. It's good fun. We stream on Monday evenings from 7 PM till 10. So we hope to see some of you there. Back to you in the studio, Ewan.
Thank you very well. Thank you much.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. That was amazing.
Thank you for that. Sam, why don't you talk shit about Pokemon?
Yes, thank you very much, you and Buddy. I am going to talk shit about Pokemon. You like Pokemon? Your mum likes Pokemon.
Okay.
On my channel, YouTube and Twitch, Sam JKP on both YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, if you like Pokemon, Faz, Stray, other games I'm thinking about playing, or lots of unwanted McDonald's getting delivered to you. Follow and subscribe.
Vous allez avoir les deux portes du château qui vont s'ouvrir grandement, enfin l'une des portes du château qui va s'ouvrir grandement, mais sans être claqué, vous voyez, sans être tiré très fort.
Thank you. Oh god, there's so much going on. I actually unmuted the stream I was trying to raid. Maya, why don't you talk about your stuff?
Sure. So I stream over.
You completely cut out. You cut
yourself.
Everyone.
Okay, I stream over on twitch.tv/Animea, and I play Genshin Impact. I play Phasmophobia. I play Five Nights at Freddy's sometimes on the odd occasion when I can be bothered, and I play Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I have a Discord, and I have an Instagram, and I have all those lovely socials that you can go and follow, as well as twitch.tv/Animea that you should go and follow. And also, just a quick thing before rounding off, thank you so much to the people who normally are in my stream who joined in the chat today. Thank you so much. I see Yumiko Sashi and Easy Pixels in the chat, so thank you very much. Just wanted to acknowledge that you were there. Thank you guys, it's very nice of you. Back to you and in the studio.
Thank you. Yeah, I also want to just say hello to those that have followed today and jumped in the stream. Pete, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back, Woody. It's been a while. Glad to see you here. And to Skull and all the others that have come in today, it's great to have you in here. You've joined right at the thick of it, so that is going to be fun for you, I guess. Oh shit! I may have launched the raid. I've already launched the raid.
You launched the raid.
Rip. Oh well. Well, just in case anyone has not gone through, there's the Discord in case they want to have a look. And there's my link for my games and stuff if you want to play some games with me and help me fund life in this cost of living. Thank you again for everyone who's joined. We will see you next week, hopefully with Hayden back with us, and potentially with a guest star, we'll see. until then, remember, as it is very important to acknowledge this, that you all must stay very, very dirty, and we will see you next Sunday. Take care. Much love.